5 seconds remaining. Dire Team's turn to ban. Radiant Team's turn to ban.
Wondering, hey, what the hell? What is up with Division 1? Because there were some
Dire
issues
team
with some of the players still being
Radiant
stuck in
team ban.
Romania after TI. Division 2 is gonna be all happening now. So that's what we're speed running through it here in December and then in January, Division 1. So this is why we're here. My name is Dragon Drop. I'm joined by Snare, and we should have
10
an interesting
seconds
one for
remaining.
you. Neptune Gaming
Yep.
versus CDEC.
Dire
Both
Team's
teams
turn to
that
pick.
have had the opposite of success so far in this.
Radiant Team's turn
Yeah,
to
that
pick.
is definitely true, right? CDEC, this is their 4th game that they're going to be playing right now. They've copped 3 losses in a row. And that might sound like a terrible record, but Neptune Gaming, it's been even worse. They are currently 0-6.
Radiant Team's
This is
turn
their
to
last game. If it's possible for them to win any games, it
Dire
has to be
Team's
this one.
turn to
But
pick.
everything up until this point has been going very badly against them. 2-0s in pretty much all their matchups, and unlike CDEC, who, you could argue that they've played some of the best teams that are in the lower division right now. Team Magma, as the Aries, YBB, these are not weak teams by any stretch of the imagination, but Neptune Gaming, they played
seconds
everybody
remaining.
and they've been ran over by everybody, so this is their last chance to try and eke out anything
seconds remaining.
resembling an advantage. But if they fail here, they'll be guaranteed bottom of the log. Right now, I believe that they are guaranteed for relegation, but you want to leave with some pride still intact, at least having gotten a win or two, at least a map. Just take a map, guys. That's all we need. So both teams obviously need this matchup. CDEC can obviously use it a lot better than Neptune Gaming, but Neptune Gaming, there might be a little bit of end of the road desperation coming in from them in this one.
It might be indeed. So, but as you said, you want to have some sort of honor points, at least the map, something go
10
your
seconds
way.
remaining.
Just to motivate you to keep going, if nothing else.
Yeah.
5 seconds remaining. Radiant
really
Team's
what
turn to
it's,
ban.
it's
Dire
down
Team's
to
turn to
right
ban.
now. We'll see. CDC, I've not seen them play just yet. It might surprise us with fun. So far, we see a lot of Lightning Boys, Disruptor and Razor being picked up in the first 1-2. Disruptor pretty good against Tidehunter as well.
10 seconds
just
remaining.
Cannot purge off the Static Storm with Crack Control,
Radiant Team
obviously.
ban. Dire Team ban.
Razor also pretty decent against most melee heroes, including Tidehunter if you want to lanes. So already draft off to a decent amount, I would say. But Neptune Gaming, Grimstroke also on the field. It's a hero that you can combo up with a number of different things.
Yep. A lot of different combos available with
10
this hero.
seconds remaining.
Inkswell has been used a lot these days. It is a bit concerning for me that
5
they,
seconds remaining.
right now against Disruptor Razor, at the very least it's like Disruptor with Grimstroke, so both sides have fairly low damage supports, but that does mean that there might not be a lot of help for the Tidehunter in the top side of the map, so I'm hoping that they do get a different hero there maybe to help this Tide out, because like you mentioned, if this is Razor safe lane though, because they could easily do something a little bit different. I've seen CDEC run the MKS Razor before. I don't know if this is going to be the plan for this game, but always love to see one of these heroes that you can just pick and decide what to do with it later. With Neptune Gaming, it's fairly apparent where everybody's going and what the game plan supposedly is going to look like. They're looking for this mid-game timing where they can utilize these team fights prowesses, Tidehunter Ravage, Grimstroke. We don't know if there's going to be a Soulbind combo, but they only have a pretty decent Inkswell one. The one thing I'm also wondering right now, for Neptune Gaming, we've often seen that they really excel or they have their best showings in the laning phase and things start to collapse for them right after. So I'm wondering if they're going to try and double down and try to get more early game heroes. Maybe like a Bane emerges to play as the position 5 and they shift this Grimstroke to pos 4. But I also like what CDC is doing. We're trying to make sure that once the mid game does hit, the aspect of the game Neptune Gaming tends to be the weakest, that they're going to get ran at directly in their faces here, Dragon Drop. Clockwork, Razor, Disruptor. This feels like a very high tempo setup to me here coming in from CDC.
5 seconds remaining.
Clockwork, as you said, just run at you. That's kind of the name of the game. This hero, very annoying to play against. Certainly, if the Grimstroke gets caught by it with Barrier Soul inside the cogs, like there's no running away, and then that turns into a very snack and be a bit annoying sometimes if you are the one getting caught in that ultimate and the soulbind. You don't have as much free movement necessarily. That's very situational at best. Need to find some sort of solution. Ideally, find carry heroes that don't really mind too much. They can fight.
Dire team's turn to
Ursa
pick.
would come perhaps.
Queen
Pain.
of pain.
She can blink out.
It's very dependent on like when the tick starts, when you got jumped on. It's one of these weird situations. On the bright side, I suppose Queen of Pain is a hero that doesn't feel too discomforted by the fact that she has to buy BKB at some point. And this is definitely the kind of game where DKB is going to be a necessity. You can blink away from the Razor as well in the event that this is going to be mid-Razor, so you can keep the harass potential up on him while staying out of range, potentially winning the lane. But I've seen these lane matchups also go pretty poorly for the Queen of Pain in the past, and one thing I'm really worried about is the presence of this Disruptor. Already super good against the Tidehunter, but now you're playing Queen of Pain into it. Instant Static Storm, you can get tagged by the Glimpse if you're not very careful, and sometimes the timing to be able to blink away from it is like pixel perfect, kind of difficult to always make use of reliably. But at the very least, you do have the Grimstroke, so we have somebody else to combo the Inkswell with. Still no Soulbind combo, but we get some burst for ourselves too, which they were lacking beforehand. And this is interesting here, Dragon Drop. There's been a couple of games where we both said that like Juggernaut could fit the mold, but it seems like that hero's been, for the most part, largely ignored and forgotten about. But it comes out here, one of the rare situations where we can see its utility, you know, insta-cost versus the Clockwork.
Right.
No matter what offlane that they try to play this with, you're going to have Juggernaut with Grimstroke, so run at you with Inkswell. It's going to be pretty great. It's going to help out a lot. So quite interesting that this is the direction that they decide to go here with this hero.
Juggernaut is, it's kind of the white bread of carries.
Radiant team's turn to ban.
Not particularly great, unless you get a bunch of items, and it's good, but it's not particularly bad either, as you said, with the Grimstroke combination. It makes for a very strong lane, but up against the Razor, it's always a bit... can get the lane going.
Dire team ban.
Still has to run away, can't really going and spin into slash or anything. All that damage, so it's... yeah, he's limited in what he can do in this game.
Yep. Especially now when he's going to be playing into this Lina as well, so there is potential for him to just get bursted down at any given time where he gets caught in these spells.
5 seconds remaining.
Definitely, I'll have to see whether or not this hero is actually viable for them. At the very least, it is lanes, but I don't know about that afterwards. It also does mean that CDEC can wait until they can just basically decide, pick their poison, where they want the Razor to go. Could easily see them deciding to play this in the off lane. Neptune Gaming disagree, and they are insistent that this is going to be the MKS Razor that we were talking about earlier. Slaughter banned, Darkseer banned, both of which would be pretty great teamfight combos and would be terrifying in the laning phase with Clockwork. I suppose maybe that's the rationale we should also be thinking about with them. Which heroes combo with Clockwork, and then for Neptune Gaming themselves, which heroes can go into the offlane potentially, because there could be a support Tidehunter right now. With them deciding that playing Tide into Razor, Disruptor, and Lina is a bit much, but nope. It's offlane Quap, or is it offlane Invoker? Dragon Drop. We're getting something special here from Neptune Gaming.
Support Invoker? Question mark? Support. I mean, I've seen 4-position co-op before.
10
I've seen
seconds
4-position
remaining.
Invoker before. It's always a bit crazy, but it's not completely outside of the realm of possibility.
5 seconds
but then again,
remaining.
the most likely would be perhaps even Tidehunter support instead. Either way, it's non-standard.
Yeah.
Do generally like Invoker. There's a lot of options on this hero, depending on what kind of way you want to go. There's not a lot of setup for Sunstrix early on. So you'd imagine that this would classic Quas-Vex Invoker, where he just says, all right, you're going to come at us with the Razor, with the Clockwork, just run in our face. Well, I'm just going to you and EMP you, and then you're in trouble, you know. So I do like that idea, and then you can use that counter initiation to piggyback the Queen of Pain on. Even that, if she ends up being in a non-core role, she's still going to deal a decent
it's one of these hero picks where, in isolation, if I didn't consider how it fits into the rest of the draft, and you just consider like potential lanes of combos, you're like, yeah, this could actually really work. We also have like Alacrity for Juggernaut eventually in the game. If the game stretches long enough, we can get to the Aghanim Scepter. So you have Ravage, Cataclysm. We've seen that be a combination before. And then, like you mentioned, of course, just giving the free reign for team fighting for heroes like Quap, Grimstroke. It's just... It's the balance of this team is so off right now for Neptune Gaming. Let's just suppose that the Queen of Pain, whoever goes off lane here, if it is Quap or the Tidehunter, either one of them is going to be putting the other in a precarious position, because all of these heroes need levels to be effective and a lot of experience and farm for Juggernaut too. So resource allocation has not necessarily been one of the strong suits of Neptune Gaming. So I'm kind of surprised that they went in for a pick like this, which is going to require incredible resource allocation, great team fighting, great execution. And now CDEC just goes straight ahead for the Xiaofu LC, making sure that they have the Purge for themselves. You've got some hard lockdown for the Queen of Pain, hard lockdown for the Invoker. And of course, you just have a decent lane into the Juggernaut. You already know it's going to be Juggernaut Grimstroke lane. Cool. Make sure that you pick a hero that going into that lane doesn't necessarily fear instantly dying. You have a great combo partner with it in the Clockwork. So that's another kill lane as well. More frustration, I think, is coming in today here, Drag and Drop for Neptune Gaming, because I think this draft is a little bit too greedy for them, and they're going to get exploited here by CDEC.
CDEC's draft is a lot more well-rounded, a lot more standard, and with some very strong core heroes. Like, we've seen a lot of Razor, we've seen Discipline, Legion Commanders, also heroes where it doesn't work in all games, but this is certainly one where you can get a lot of utility out of it, start a duel on Pain, picked up by Aya, so that's the off lane. Unknown. We don't know what's going on with Fonte. He disappeared during the last series, so known on Juggernaut.
Living up to his name, you know, the unknown player.
Unknown to us for now. We'll see what they can do. Like, it's... Yeah. I don't know. I don't want to say it, but Neptune Games draft comes like a draft that would work in months.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I think games go a little bit later. Games aren't as coordinated, as fast.
Honestly, even in a puppy situation for Neptune Gaming, they would definitely have a hard time structuring how they're going to approach the game, structuring the lanes in particular. But we'll see, you know. Within maybe this entire time, Neptune Gaming, their thought processes, we've tried to play the standard style of Dota. We've done things not necessarily in the same way as everybody else, but we followed meta trends. Hasn't really gotten us anywhere. So if we are going to go out, at least let's try something different, or let's go out with a bang. Everybody ask for your favorite heroes. So off-lane Quap, that's going to be really entertaining. And there are some interesting things about this, right? Given that the lane is going to be safe lane Razor, the things we were talking about with Razor Quap matchup, presuming it was going to be mid, somewhat apply to the offlane, but it's actually a little bit better for the Quap. The range potential on the flat terrain is a bit easier to navigate against a hero like Razor, who eventually will be able to get you with higher movement speed, but at the beginning, not really a factor, and you have the blink for mobility advantage. And I think they also realize this from CDEC. They're trying to make sure that they match up the Razor into the Juggernaut lane up in the top.
Judging by their pre-rune positioning, exactly what they want to do. MKS already not even interested in runes, just interested in getting the block out as early as possible. So yeah, they're gonna have that matchup. They're gonna see if they want to engage into this game of musical lanes, where start walking across the map, where you're trying to anticipate those kind of lanes. The moment someone TPs, the other one TPs as well. He's on cooldown. I'm losing trade. I've seen games where that just goes on for like 5 minutes until they finally decide, alright, laning phase is over anyway now.
Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
There was this classic Eternal Envy game I remember where they were like, for 7 whole minutes, he refused to just sit in the lane. He's like, I will not play this matchup. I will run around. But now they've seen each other top. Let's see what they decide to do on Neptune Gaming, because no Juggernaut wants to be in this position. And in fact, they're going to try a run down Guogo. Poor Grimstroke might end up being first blood. Ah, he's fine. He's fine. He's fine. He's fine. Yep, that's the only solve they had. They had to bring another one.
Normally, if you're forced to use a self as a support, it's annoying. Not for yourself, but for the carry. Can't rely on that. In this case, it's a Juggernaut though, so you can always set early points in healing wards.
Yep. That is one of the great things about that hero, the sustained potential that you have. And the sustained potential on both sides of the map, because they also have the Xiaofu LC down here in this bottom lane, eventually going to be grabbing these points into your moment of courage. This is really annoying for Tidehunter as well, especially because you're not playing this core Tidehunter, you're playing this as support. Eventually, only 1 point in Anchor Smash will not be enough, even though you don't even have it as of yet. Xiaofu will out right click you, will out harass you, will out sustain this lane itself, and AAE on the Queen of Pain, not heroes that you think about when you think about forcing out aggression in the off lane. They might find the first blood here. No, they got it top. Oh my gosh, they get it on both sides of the map at the same time. I'd be so upset right now if I'm bottom, but you know, props to them on top. Actually did it first.
Dire's
That's
middle tower
hilarious
isn't
though.
going to
I'm
last
upset
long.
because it didn't catch first blood because of that. Because I was looking at him dying bottom.
Oh,
Can't
feels
really
bad.
blame me for this one though, because yeah, that was
The
second.
Legion is grateful.
But this is terrible news though, Dragon Drop. That's 2 jets on 2 sides of the map. And you already know that you have a very strong matchup middle. Look at how hard Echo is beating Wai Shen right now in this Lina versus Invoker matchup.
Our blade is swifter.
So I'm winning all 3 lanes, like yes. I mean, MKS and no, this matchup between them
Off with you.
is more even. Carries not as
So grateful.
If they had a few more levels available up on the top lane, they might actually be able to get some kills going, but it's kind of difficult given their early starts. And look at bottom. Like, how are you supposed to play this game, honestly? Normally, just as Disruptor, you don't feel super confident about being able to out-harass offlaners, but with a hero as squishy as a Queen of Pain, and Rogo might die top here, but Inksaw should protect him. But yet again, they're being forced back. They're definitely going to have to use this last salve, and there we go. It's gone. Now you're in this awkward position. Do we ferry in more regen, or do we hope we get to level 3 super soon on Unknown so he can give us the healing ward in lane? But now we're going to have the 1-1-1, and he definitely won't have enough damage to threaten anymore, which is ideally what you want to be able to do if you have a Grimstroke and Jug in the same lane.
you want to be able to as well as spin combo. Spin level 2s when the damage really starts mounting up.
Money to burn.
But if you then get drained, MKS might still be able to fight you and fight you around. It's a bit awkward. Can make this kind of play on the clockwork, especially because this protection, like his batteries, the Juggernaut doesn't really care about that if he spins, but he's been positioning quite well to a point where he's not really vulnerable to this kind of.
I am ever so grateful.
He's been playing really, really well. The things that they need to do, but Dragon Drop, I'm really worried about Wai Shen. He's going to be fine from this.
He stole 4 CS from the small camp Vado, so
Hey, hey!
quite a hype.
The sharks have my
Small
breath.
victories.
Didn't you?
Alright.
So much free chip damage that they do, right? Between the overwhelming odds, the Thunderstrike spam.
Yep.
There's no way to outregen that.
Tidehunter already hates dealing with Thunderstrike as an offlaner, but now dealing with it as a support, definitely not a great time. Queen of Pain is not very tanky in this situation. And I'm starting to wonder, right, for Xiaofu, after you finish the Armlet, is the build-up going to be straight Blink in this game? Or can they afford to stop over for something else? And I don't want to lose crop again.
It looks like
Little
Dire
extra
fortified their
mana on
structure.
either one of these. This is Soul Ring though, but overworking odds. Let's purge off. It'll leave in time. I think with the stick he would have had enough for
A gift from the tempest of battle.
Gets a blink out in time before the cooldown returns. So just have to settle for leaving the lane. The LC.
Oh god.
I don't know, they've lost the bottom lane, lost mid.
I mean, it's been okay up on top. You know, like you were mentioning earlier, the Unknown versus Razor matchup, I think he's actually done a fairly good job, like you were saying, with his positioning as well. Keep away from the drain maximally, still getting his own farm. So it's not all doom and gloom for Unknown. He's still going to be in a position to be able to participate in this game. We'll see what the itemization decision is going to be. Obviously, there's no chance that you go for a Battle Fury. You need to be a lot more active than that. But we'll see if the decision is going to be Diffusal, Sanjin Y, Manta style. What direction Unknown is thinking this game is going to be going. Or maybe even just starting with Maelstrom and seeing from there. And he's able to hold this top lane down. The one nice thing about having the Razor here is that it's a lot easier if you do want to make the first early rotations with Queen of Pain and or with Invoker to come to the priority target. If you have the magical burst, you can potentially kill him, and then you still protect this top tower, give Jug more space on the map to farm up, and not have to worry about this terrifying LC. The Xiaofu is getting really, really strong, and it's very scary.
About the other build, it's gonna be the Armlet, and I would be very surprised if you don't go for like,
Can't outrun a wildfire.
lane like that. The momentum rolling, try and get the blink initiation. There's a bunch of free kills that you can get with that, not just on support.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Razor in a bit of trouble, trying to get the combo out. We don't walk over, double LSA inside the cogs. Echo counters that rotation. Contrae so far being healed up currently by the healing ward. Clockwork run.
He's fine. He's fine. Survived like 90 HP, but he's fine. It's okay.
The only health point that you really.
Oh,
Am I wrong?
I'm gonna
Might give that one up.
tell that to my carry players.
The grasslands.
I'm supporting them in lane and they almost die. I'm like, hey man, you're still alive, right? Got that last HP point.
Someone better help Dire's middle tower.
So honestly, that's not so bad for Neptune Gaming. Great rotation to the top lane, the first one of the game for Waishen. And we were just talking about it, that this is one advantage of playing into this aggressive Razor, that it's a bigger target gets drawn on his back. And they do make that kill happen, buy a lot of time for this Juggernaut, and look how he's leapfrogged this Razor now in network. Things are looking really positive for Unknown at this point in time, and they're going top again with the smoke. Weezy wants to help out. They want to try kill MKS one more time.
Run into them and figure out what's going on. Will he even be able to walk away? So. KS is leaving now. There's some more support coming in. This or disrupt almost 5, so way near that step. Yeah.
They're just gonna park these heroes here. They've got vision as well behind the tier 1 tower. This is really great and disruptive nearby with glimpse. And they get a D-ward. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, okay.
Oh.
This is about to expire too, so good catch on that.
Alright, they're gonna try actually make a play here. They're bringing in Waishen once more, so they really want to go in for this aggression. They get the tornado out. Exo combo, does it land? Yes, it does. They glimpse back Waishen, but a little bit too late. He's already laid down the EMP as well, so they're going to be able to secure that kill. And Dragon's Up, I think that's actually beneficial. You get a kill and you get a free TP back to lane. Shout out Disruptor.
Get that D-ward of themselves. Yeah, that was certainly pretty damn good. Echo now.
Coming in.
A little bit late to the party. Much they can do here. So it's spending a lot of time up top here instead of CD. Really been able to get anything done. In fact, they lost the Razor twice. Stifling his momentum quite a bit. And as you said, the Juggernaut certainly very happy. Hunter is now second in net worth, only following Zhao Fu, who's of course having a whale of time down bottom. Just easy uncontested for the last couple of times.
Yep. It's only been this off-lane co-op to be able to contest in that lane. I still can't believe I'm saying those words. Off-lane campaign, man. What do you even build with this off-lane build? Like, it feels like AEA used to just as confused about this. I've clicked on him a few times. Earlier on, he had Soldier queued up. Then he's like, that's not really going to work out. Then he tried to queue Yules, and he's like, no. I can't go Orchid either in this situation. I need something else. So let me try tank up with Sound and Kaya. And it looks like that's going to be him settling on this kind of build. Also has some raindrops, so they want tankiness.
On to White and the Echo's there. They actually connect, I believe, but still plenty of magic burst. Zhao Fu also joins in halfway towards Blink Dagger. that. 4 people are in mid to get a
Middle
good kill.
tower
And
is under attack.
first tier 1 tower,
Dire have
apparently.
fortified their structures.
Okay. And the Ausfast.
It's at level 6 now.
Someone better help Dire's middle tower.
Would hate to use Ravage in this situation though. Wants to save it desperately for a fight. You could get glimpse back and he might get killed into a duel. Yeah, sadly, no option to even use that defensively. They do bring in the Queen of Pain now, but I don't think she's going to be able to defend the tower. Maybe go for a deny. Nope, not going to happen. They might look for an Inkswell combo with the Invoker also being nearby, but they wisely decided to just let this one go. They've already lost 2 heroes for the tower. The tower goes down with barely a fight. They gave away dual damage while they were at it. It is pretty big reversal of fortunes given how well these last like minute and a half has been going for Neptune Gaming. But you know, at the very least, they're not losing things elsewhere on the map. They still have the tier 1 top. Invoker still comes back into this lane, not fully threatened. It can still probably finish the hand of Midas before he has to leave this lane in its entirety. Still though, CDEC are starting to eke more and more ahead in net worth, especially with Xiaofu being completely uncontested. And first smoke coming in right now. Before they just ran wantonly through this mid lane, but now they're looking for aggression, using the smoke and potentially using the hook shot of the Slogwood.
That feels better.
Worked out pretty well. The second one onto creeps though.
Radiant's bottom tower's
bad.
got problems. Are
Still
those
hanging
clouds?
around here though. And the duel comes out. After all, Echo's there with all the bursts they need.
Oh
Oh no, that's
Yeah.
the mind
Radiant's bottom
games.
tower.
You gotta tip him for that one. You gotta tip him.
Absolutely. It's
There's
just
got it.
hey,
nothing on
yeah.
Dire's top tower.
Oh, they missed the hook shot. There's no
Dire's
way they're
structures are
sticking around.
fortified.
Then they
Oh
just
my
walk up.
god. All of this for an
beating on
Olga
Dire's top
Frost
tower.
Mage. It wasn't worth it, Unknown. It wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it.
Dire's top tower has
That is
fallen.
just pain and suffering. Now you lose the jug. You're gonna lose the tower anyway. But at the very least, you're gonna at least have time that you can dip deeper into the jungle. And I was saying earlier that there's no way you go Battle Fury in this situation. Unknown proves me wrong. Queued up the Battle Fury, and that makes that death even worse. It's one thing to die early on when you're going for this more aggressive, earlier timing, but if you're planning to only peak a lot later into the game, then it's very problematic to end up losing your life at times like this when you know for a fact that CDEC are going to keep running at you. Xiaofu has the blink now, and here we go. They're smoked immediately again. And why would you ever stop this train? As soon as hookshot's online, as soon as blink duel is online, you always want to go. In fact, the only impediment to them moving across the map is going to be running out of smokes at this point and how quickly they're going in.
Duel straight up on a Juggernaut. They don't quite have the same burst this time, but they do have the Static Storm to follow up. So that's a spot inside the Gaunt. The Echoes right there. Good burst on Gorgo perhaps. A couple more right clicks will be needed. Xiaofu.
Ravage!
They're doing it. Ravage there. Xiaofu actually bursts it down between the two
Double
of them.
kill.
Takes them a while though. Link back out. The ultimate on Titan, not enough to kill either one of them.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Yes, oh god. Another Sour, he dug all of those out. With the shovel, and it's actually Ignis who was left in the front line.
What?
That was comedy of errors here, honestly.
Oh, wow.
They did not do the math on that.
No, they did not. They got a little bit too greedy at the beginning of the fight. They tried to split their attention thinking that Xiaofu, with the help of this young disruptor from Ignis, should be more than enough to kill the Juggernaut quickly. And they do get the kill on him, but it wastes the Static Storm, so they don't have that available for either the Tide, the Queen of Pain, or Invoker. And on the back of the fight, like you mentioned, the 2 hero cogs set things up perfectly for them. Then the Sonic Wave, and also they got way too greedy with the chase afterwards. Xiaofu still deciding to run into the Ravage. I really can't believe they got that kill, not just onto this LC, but the follow-up onto both supports means that the fight, although they lost the Juggernaut, they actually end up breaking positively with AEAE now suddenly number 2 in net worth on the whole map. Offlane Queen of Pain is working. Genius pick, fam. I never doubted you for a second.
I wouldn't go that far, but sure. Alright. We'll see. I mean, we're pointing out that NKS was not part of that fight. He's just been clicking away at creeps. Self-perseverance right now. That, maybe not. Queued up.
Perseverance. I doubt it's Lotus Orb. Like, what? Nothing that's super big that you want to dispel. Not doubt it's Linken's. Value Perseverance. We're seeing a lot of new stuff in this game here, Dragon Drop. Offlane Co-op, Value Perseverance on ostensibly carry Razor.
I mean,
this
yeah,
is going to be...
eventually going to turn into a refresher, right?
Eventually.
Melts
Not
people,
much good's
but in
happening
the
to
meantime, you're
Radiant's
going to have
bottom
a
tower.
bunch to work with. The amount of regions is actually quite nice. Plasma fields and whatnot to farm.
Radiant's bottom tower is
It does
under
mean that you're not very effective until you get BKB though, so he's gonna be super reliant on... That's probably why he decided to stay out of that fight. He's like, what am I gonna contribute if I just show up and die? Rather let me get this item, that way I can just literally just show up in the fight, pop BKB and chase down any of our targets, make it a lot easier for us to kill them. White Shed gonna get Duel, gonna get hookshotted, gonna get Laguna Bladed. Okay. I don't think they were happy about how the last fight panned out, and looks like they blamed the Invoker for that one. They dropped everything on his head.
Yeah. Third duel victory, got his level 12 from that though, so extra attendance at plus 20, but keep the train rolling from here.
Battlefield is up now.
Not the quickest timing we've ever seen, but at least he got it now.
That's actually kind of interesting to me, the fact that although they do have this almost constant jump, and we saw them trying to utilize it, it feels like they've been a bit timid since that last engagement, and haven't necessarily been running out with the same confidence on the map, and that's surprisingly enough giving Neptune Gaming the time to make use of this greed. Look at Unknown farming this giant stack. Oof, that's juicy. That's a lot of gold you're gonna pick up on this one.
Neutral items as well. I mean, it's always benefit if you get the stack up, wait for 17 minutes, especially the Ancients because of the higher drop rate on the neutrals. Hitting that the moment the battlefield lands, it's bad as Hui Hui. Could be in trouble. Go there. Didn't notice his presence in time. Still be able to find him here. Jafu, yeah, just goes in by himself. Bit of follow-up there from MKS, and just enough to secure that duel win. Plus 50 now in total. Not at all.
Worthy tribute.
Perfect time to do it as well. He was 100 gold short of being able to pick up the Blink Dagger on this side. So killing him now, getting the tower, you get the outpost right before the 20-minute mark. You can still potentially dip back into the Roshan pit if you want to. And this actually feels pretty good for them. We're unfortunate to be in that situation, but you're also happy that it's not one of your other heroes that's getting ganked and killed. And he'll still be able to get this Blink. And it also means that there's time where Unknown as well as Waishin were given perfect vision of where their most dreaded opponents are, in particular the LC and this Razor. But these heroes are now going to go into the pit, looking for the first stages of the game, but he's back. And he might not have a Blink Dagger yet, but he's about to finish it off this wave, and they're not that fast with those Roshan. They might still be able to connect to it in time, but it doesn't look like they want to do it. Neptune Gaming. So they're going to give this one up, allow this to be an Aegis for CDEC. I think it's going to be a farming Aegis mostly. Not that much real estate on the map that they can grab right now, but Waishin might be in danger. Bottom gets hookshotted. What? Big plays from the Clockwork. Shows up with Dust as well. Echo will be there with the LSA. Definite kill onto the Invoker. And maybe got a little bit too greedy. Stuck around too long. Down bottom. Punished here.
Fight rages on though, so Ravage can recover side Static Storm, so they do first down.
What?
Two heroes.
Agony.
That was good here. Trying to go for a dual play. By themselves.
Dragon Drop. Is that another double kill for the Screen of Pain? She might die here, but nope, blink away. That just all came too late. Dude, she's 4-0 and 2. She's top net worth. What's happening?
Invisibility.
I think now I can say Offline Co-op is working in this particular game. Yeah, I've been making good use of that burst damage, I guess, and it seems in this particular situation would also look like they would one being there, but that's kind of coin toss at time. hardcore play. Oh yeah, just get the quick pick off and then everyone's there. It's like, oh yeah, well we didn't see them, so we could have figured that they're sticking together. And because they know that we're not with the Invoker, right? That's what.
Yeah. They're coming in again. They still have this Aegis available. Xiaofu. Duel Online has Aghanim Shard too, so they want some targets. They want some more damage to go the way of this hero. And they can get it really quickly now. As they also have MKS with full BKB up, and they're going to try to utilize this. Run forward onto Grogo. Xwell will stall this out for a second, but doesn't even pop. That's how quickly they get this kill. MKS did have to commit Eye of the Storm on this one, and there's no Aghanim Scepter, so very little ways to put damage onto the building. They'll have to content themselves with just using some right clicks. I mean, they can get this chase onto Hui as well, but it is a Tidehunter with Kraken Shell, with the Ravage, and they can actually commit the Static Storm back onto him. They haven't gotten the kill yet, but it shouldn't take too much longer. And now they know that they're not afraid of the Tide, with the beef there in front of them. Should be able to take the tower soon thereafter, but Neptune Gaming looking like they're prepared to let them have it. They don't want to get picked off one by one by one by one by one. Besides, they have more important things to take care of here, Dragon Drop. But it's some farm to pick up. Waishen's in the jungle, trying to get closer to this Aghanim Scepter. They want the Cataclysm. They want that burst damage going.
Creeps to kill. Right, Waishen trying to do his best to
Not much
fight
good's
them
happening to
directly,
Radiant's
just fight them
bottom tower.
indirectly, just build to.
Radiant's bottom tower
Yeah, he's
is
getting
no
the tier 2
more.
for not for free, considering that he ended up earlier doing that play, but still pretty damn good. Getting him towards that Aghanim Scepter goes away. Meanwhile, the rest of his team is smoked up. He might need to join up with them. Okay, that might be Ravage up on the high ground into the Static Storm. Luke down the ground. Luke try and help.
Oh my god.
Wins it here as AR forces to blink out. Cannot Manfight flips right back into it. Couple of races into the LSA.
Double kill.
Perfectly timed. They lose the Razor, but there's a hook shot in the back. They're not even done yet. Clockwork once more, and Echo will help them out and oblige. Not doing a ton, seeing how easy Clockwork does not have a lot of mana to work with, but still, well, you require double jump boots 5. The ult can low, Echo still holding on to the Angels, of course, so it's 9 more
Someone better help Dyer's
and
middle
it looked like a
tower.
great initiation here. The quick pickoff on Razor before he could do anything just turned into a disaster for him.
God. It was a disaster in the worst possible way, Dragon Drop. It was a disaster with a plan. I was wondering why is Waishen TPing all the way back home instead of joining his team, potentially TPing the trees behind the tier 2. You need to pick up the Aghanim Scepter, and you can see the plan, right? We have Inkswell, jumps in, big Ravage, the stun out onto Razor. Xiaofu also comes in to help from the side of CDEC, and that's supposed to be when Waishen throws in the Cataclysm for that bonus burst damage to just kill everybody, but just shy on being able to do so, and the idea was there, but the execution just wasn't, and Xiaofu manages to get off the duel, and those procs of Moment of Courage, the amount of regen, kind of insane on this Legion Commander. She stays alive with the very last hit, seeming like it was gonna kill her, and then the worst disaster struck when AEAE, not yet finished with this Lincoln Sphere, unfortunately gets glimpsed back into the waiting arms of Xiaofu. Then it's just losing heroes one by one by one, and they're not done yet. They want to try and get Grogo, who is alive for now, but Waishen might not be so lucky. Glimpsed into Static Storm, into duel. They still get Grogo anyway. CDEC punishing greed by being greedy with hero kills as they get another 2 heroes, and they're slowly but surely taking over all of the map.
Radiant fortified their
You
structures.
can run. You should run. Bounty.
It's kind of crazy in the last fight as well, Joe. He was there at like 20%
Dyer's bottom tower
HP. He
is
was
being
like, yeah, I
chipped
can still
away.
duel here.
Dyer's
It's not
bottom
clear at
tower
all
has fallen.
the glimpsed spectators that they would find there, but yeah, it's still not counting.
Yep.
Bottom DD
Dyer's
going
bottom
on
tower
Lena,
needs
so
help. Looks like Dyer fortified their structures.
and G, they gotta feel the heat now. They gotta feel threat. There's Blink Ravage available. Up, but see, they smell something. Right hand, make a more hero. Echo does not care about the Ravage at all. Cataclysm is does a bit of damage, but nothing too crazy. Hui will gone in a very awkward position here. Meanwhile, from Farfar, dead first. And Show one on KS. Isolated, taken over to Xiao Fu. But Razor is still dead. Xiao Fu right down, killed Albert on his way out. Hui finally dies, but he's the only one so far. Echo slows down, trying to TP out, and will be successful. Nothing there to cancel it.
Ignis not so lucky though.
Dire's middle tower isn't going to last long.
Death comes in.
Oh man, this is exact opposite. This looked like a decent one.
Someone better help Dire's middle tower.
So
Pop.
Echo sort of debates his team there in that situation. So he pops BKB on this high ground, positioning himself as if he's ready and waiting to be able to go in. You know, as soon as the team is looking for the further jump, he's gonna come get the turnaround, LSA, burst down one target. But they sort of forget that right now, unless they both pop BKB, the Razor and the Lina, only one of them can be immortal in that time period. And Razor doesn't get off BKB before the Ravage comes out. Ravage hits, Cataclysm comes out, and initially it doesn't seem like that much damage, right? Razor's like, oh sweet, I still have enough time to pop BKB and run into the fight. But at that point, then you realize that, wait a second, this Juggernaut hasn't used his spells just yet. The Queen of Pain hasn't used their spells just yet. So they still have this BKB piercing damage to come out. And Razor jumps into the fight thinking that he can take that fight. Nope, nope, nope. Not the case at all. Gets routed immediately. Xiaofu realizes can't really jump in either because Xiaofu doesn't have a BKB. So it took so much damage from the Ravage Cataclysm combo that there wasn't really a tenable dual target afterwards. And they all sort of streamed in after Echo. And Echo was the first one to jump into the fight, feeling perfectly safe at that point. Having the Reaver, having BKB, he definitely was immortal, but the rest of the team could not follow that same pace. And they end up finding themselves losing their lives. And the big thing is all they got in exchange was Hui on the Tidehunter. Everybody else survived, everybody else got kills. So the full Linkins was already complete for AEAE beforehand, but got enough gold from that fight to now get an Aghanim shot. Juggernaut got closer towards having Basher. So even those plays we just saw of being able to TP out in front of his face soon won't be effective anymore. And with this Shadow Blade, eventually we'll get to the Silver Edge, which will 100% complicate life for both Razor and LC, especially because Xiaofu has been so reliant on this moment of courage. Without it in these fights, suddenly Xiaofu is getting low with no possible way of being able to beat back up because, you know, you're the offlaner. Nobody else but you would have built utils to help you out in the fights. I don't know about you, but it feels like this is starting to turn slowly but surely. And this Juggernaut Battle Fury, the longer these kind of frantic fights go on, the longer or the more easy it is for this item to start paying off.
To a point where it really matters who gets the initiation.
Radiant's bottom
Echo
tower's
defending
got
right here as okay, this actually well, that's gonna be a free kill. He disengages against the choice like time and time again.
Not much good's happening to
both
Radiant's
sides.
bottom
They get
tower.
good initiation out, and that doesn't mean just the jump, but also the jump on the right.
Yeah.
They can start the team fight in the right way.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
The lot get some help there. It's keep going in. Should have this one either way.
Tower's got
Enough. Okay, the top almost a duel there.
Radiant's bottom
Yeah, no time. The Aegis Echoes got that.
Radiant's
shot.
bottom tower's got problems.
Backpack. We'll see.
The entire time this was happening though, Waishin was busy pushing out this bottom lane. And the Tier 3 tower is now sitting at a third of its HP. It actually might kill Echo. Echo's in a dangerous position here. This is not an easy place to be, but I'm glad they actually retreat. And they're starting to show a lot more discipline than we've seen, not just in these games, but throughout the entire lower division of DPC and Neptune Gaming. Not taking these bad fights. This is 2 back-to-back occasions where in prior times I was expecting them to just jump in, but they get back, don't take unnecessary risks. They know that Echo is the one sitting with this Aegis. They pushed out this bottom wave. And you know, we could argue that Waishin should have been closer with this team, but they don't decide to take fights that they don't feel that they have the good jump. Like you mentioned, as soon as they see Gogo dying, they're like, well, they have the positioning, let them have it. Rather that than end up losing a fight. And a fight might come anyway though, as they are going to be very close to where Gogo is. close to all of each other. It's ships in the night right now between these two.
Ravage on a couple of people, they've just gone. Zhao Fu gets to live, and Echo, he's great. He's all alone. It doesn't be ages, but he gets it down. Anyone there needs to get rid of it. No, survives. That's awkward. Mission back though. Static Storm connected in onto Aya. Echo's there for the follow-up. LSA connects, couple right clicks here and there. Aya is still alive. Blitz back into the front. Echo's still fighting though, as they need to put it back to damage shelter. Aya.
Oh my god!
Have it. Echo thought he didn't need to click him.
Oh my god! CDEC is starting to fall apart. That's what's happening, Dragon Drop. They had to buy back on 3 heroes, in fact, for that fight to feel like they could have any sort of purchase inside it. Oh, just 2, sorry. The Razor and the Disruptor both come back. The Burst immediately, hui with the Ravage. And here, look at this Queen of Pain. Offlane Quap is actually working. Echo thought he had the kill, survives, she blinks away. And look at all this distraction, right? Sure, like the Queen of Pain is very close to dying, but through this, Echo thinks he doesn't have to right click in that direction, ends up losing Aegis. They don't kill this Queen of Pain. And both these supports are so hyper-focused on dealing with this Queen of Pain that they're not actually looking onto the high ground to try and protect this Lina. And Echo might find a kill here on bottom. Does have enough damage to do it. Does he? Doesn't look like it.
Vision, they have to jump on the stop but a little bit too late, and then she
Radiant's
catched
middle
away.
tower shouldn't have to take
Oh
this
my God.
abuse.
What a fight for Neptune Gaming. Oh my goodness. Queen of Pain, man.
They need to show up their game plan.
Dyer's courier has been killed.
Good kill. MKS push back. Fighting. That'll say good connection there. Break it down to Juggernaut. Next one. Zorgo. This time he's free kill.
Oh no.
To get away and.
Oh no, that's a Juggernaut dead without duel while they're coming for the high ground and dead without buyback. Oh no. This could be a disaster. Who is undoubtedly gonna die here as well. Does have, oh, it does get the blink away. But this is really sad because without having the Juggernaut active, there's a lot of damage being left off the field. At the same time though, we have seen the power of Blink Ravage into Cataclysm Sonic Wave, so CDC shouldn't feel too safe just because they don't have their position 1 hero available right now.
There it is, there's a Ravage, there's a Cataclysm, well, absolutely everybody. Echo's still alive, couple right clicks at KS, and Zhao Fu super low, but still will stick around. Never mind. They could have dueled there actually with a big hit there from
Show me
Silver
more.
from Lena. God damn, Echo, man, he's playing like he has ages. Doesn't.
No, he lost it.
Here. Oh, damn it. Don't have enough standing in a couple of seconds. Cannot get range and stuff. And this is going on a couple of right clicks here and there, but Tornado after this game, Fox and BKB cannot take the out though because of that link. Comes out, so okay, watch it. He just disappeared. The Sonic Wave not really doing too much, eh? This damage output a little bit to tier. They stay forward though, with the blink, with the stun, that gem on the deck.
This game is crazy.
There we go. I don't understand this.
Oh my gosh. I thought that Neptune Gaming were insane for chasing out as far as they did. I thought it was good enough to just keep the racks alive, but they're like clearly not. Who want to go for more? They're like, Echo doesn't have Aegis anymore, so time to pursue him till the ends of the freaking earth. And they keep just chasing down this lane. They kept that fight going for so long, Dragon Drop, that BKB cooled down from Echo, from the 7 to the 6 second duration, comes back in, and Neptune Gaming, despite not having the Juggernaut, they did that without the hard carry. They just kept running at them. AEAE gets the kill, and they might find Echo here. Doesn't have BKB for 10 seconds. Be careful, my friend. It's a very careful positioning, but Neptune is so far ahead, so far forward. Just retreat, please.
One time he just disappeared and able to just finish the disruptor, but now he's still killed. It's Static Storm.
Oh my god, what is happening?
How much damage? Now those men no Omni, no nothing. What is Juggernaut?
Once more.
What? Die so fast.
So this is what happens when you.
Actually.
All right, so here we go. Right? So this is what ends up happening when you willingly jump into a fight where Echo. Look where this Lina is, right? Remember, Lina is Silver Edge, Satanic, a ton of right-click damage, and is allowed to just right-click Hui. So they get the first break, and then AEE jumps into an Eye of the Storm with Refresher. So that's no mana or no armor left at all. Juggernaut as well gets pushed back by Power Cogs on the retreat, and also instantly loses all of his armor. And these heroes' right-clicks are insanely hard. So when you lose all your armor that quickly, you just end up dying in a blink of an eye, and now they can come up to the high ground, take the racks.
That's how the Slash got Lotus Orb.
Oh yeah, I did so. Yeah, just bounce back. Yeah. Bounce back into nothing. So it's like, yay! That's a waste of a spell.
Okay, there's the Ravage. She's coming here. Luna. Okay, did not catch right click time. Panic, so let's kill. Money actually, yeah. Get buyback money back immediately.
That's a lot of money, but the fact is it's at this point of the game, I think it's once you started losing racks, you don't care that much about the buyback cost. It's about this buyback cooldown, and now 7.5 minutes. And you ask yourself, right? Because when they made that push onto the tier 2, they were playing with 4 heroes. The Invoker wasn't alive at the time, and they still decided to force that fight. And now they're doing it again. Here they are. They've already popped Cataclysm. You know, Ravage is down, but they're still forcing the tier 2 tower push. Neptune Gaming, they're insistent we will get some real estate, whether y'all like it or not, whether we like it or not. But they might do Unknown at the same time. Pushed back by the power cards. He's gonna try and spin the safety, but there's no way out. The duel comes from Xiaofu. Dead, but this time with buyback, so there is still something going, but I feel like this game would be so different if Neptune Gaming were just not so insistent on never being together. You know, if they played with 5, they'd be fine, but they just don't want to hear drag and drop. I don't know, maybe they're arguing in the server, like, fine, we'll never be on the same side of the map as you, never.
Tower shouldn't have to take this abuse.
Well, Juggernaut didn't get the memo for that.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Quite something. Buyback situation now looking too bad. I mean, apart from Queen of Pain.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Available on the side.
Double damage.
Before that, Roshan.
Worthy
And
tribute.
Aghanim Blessing.
Razor would love a piece of that. Aghanims already has Refresher active. We already have BKB and AC. We've got the Aghanims on top of that. We are in a very good place, and so it looks like they are going to get it because Neptune Gaming not in any kind of position right now to come and contest this. Still having Unknown in the grave. And there we go. Hands on Razor. So now they have, before this they were kind of struggling with the siege unless they got kills onto all these heroes. Now Razor can just pop himself onto the high ground. He's building the Satanic, or is it Satanic or Heart that he's building with this Reaver? I'm hoping it's a Heart, but either way he's tanking up to make sure that he can stand his ground. Already has the armor item, already has the BKB, so all the protection this hero could need is available. Buyback is off cooldown, just needs the gold to be able to afford it. And now is when the game starts to get really, really difficult for Neptune. They did a good job holding up until this point, but can they hold now even? They're gonna try. Big Ravage, but Cataclysm will not connect onto Nina. They get the June off onto the Juggernaut as well. Static Storm is down 2. Jug is gone. Beautiful power cards onto the hook from the clockwork. Catches 3 heroes. 2 of them have already been dropped. They're chasing for a third. Now Yshed loses his life towards the NKS double storm. Buyback came in from Global, but soon will be a dieback. And I think that's it, Dragon Drop. They tried their best, they did what they could, but at the end of the day, CDEC just a little bit too strong. The opening pop doesn't work out. It's the last one to die, and the game will end. And that's GG. CDEC take game 1.
The field the Aegis is not even required. There is that doubles.
Yeah.
上带着这个1万多块钱的装备，但是一点输出打不出来，所以导致就本来大优的一方反而是一点点被追回来，反推了2波，这种情况在。所以就这种失误，其实对 CDEC 来说也要尽量避免。就大优被翻，这始终是一个自己的问题。
Dire team's turn to ban.
Right on time.
Right on.
Radiant team's turn to ban.
You ready?
Yes, sir.
3. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We're here with game number 2 between CDEC and Neptune
10
Gaming.
seconds
who have
remaining.
Still yet to win a game. They got so close.
5 seconds remaining.
Closer than they've come the entire lower division of the DPC up until this point, and unfortunately they fell short just at the last moment. And ironically, they started to fall short when they were winning, when the tide had turned, when things were going in their direction. But unfortunately, we've seen that happen all too many times, where the losing team, the team that's like on the out, on the fritz, only finds their momentum and starts losing just as they find a groove, because they don't know how to handle being in a positive situation anymore. So let's hope it was enough drag and drop that they finally get back into something resembling good form.
10 seconds left. Decided?
We hope for you. Right.
5 seconds
Yeah,
remaining.
this is the last chance right now. This is the very last series, the very last game, potentially. 3 show what they can do and get a point on the board.
Dire
Just
team's
the
turn
map.
to pick.
It has to start here. It has to start.
Great,
They
they're
ban
back.
out the Razor. IO picked up. It's already kind of setting the stage a little bit. It opens up the carry pool quite a bit. You can
10
do a
seconds
lot of fun
remaining.
things with it, you know, some other heroes as well.
5 seconds
What I
remaining.
favor, you know, if you also get other cores, also benefit from the IO, you're not as
Dire
stuck
team's turn to pick.
with heroes.
Tide Hunter.
Radiant team's turn to pick.
Also, a lot of the way we've been seeing this IO being played here in the lower division has often been as the offlane partner. We haven't seen that. We've seen like a few games, I think, with IO safe lane, but for the most part, it's there to buttress what happened in the offlane. And given how well Xiaofu did in game number 1, I think they're like,
10
yeah, man,
seconds
make sure that
remaining.
Xiaofu has as good a game as possible and will be carried to victory. So,
5
should be what
seconds
heroes
remaining.
could be an LC again, it could be Night Stalker, some of the preferred combos we've seen in the lower division. And from Neptune Gaming, I really like the fact that they stick with the Tide Hunter. Sure, it might not have worked out at the end of the day, but I like that they have an option. A lot of the time that we've seen Neptune Gaming here in the lower division, there's been times when it doesn't feel like they themselves are capable of taking a fight when they want to. At the very least here, you do have that big timing around the Ravage. Just wait for that to go off.
Dire team.
You have a situation where you can at least, you can move around a big timing with the entire team, understanding when and where to go. Getting Undying as well to make sure you protect the laning phase. Tombstone's quite decent. CDC though, I love this. This pick is incredible. Ursa, great against Tide Hunter. For obvious reasons, Furious Stripes just munches through this hero.
remaining.
And also, Overpower versus Undying Tombstone. One of the best ways
5
in the game to get rid
seconds
of the big thing easily.
Radiant team ban.
Money. IO Ursa. Very nice, very aggressive. Face and a lot of potential for this. Very quick kills, not just tombstones, but also heroes like Titan to even not necessarily have time in that
10 seconds remaining.
ends up being the matchup. So
5 seconds remaining. Dire team
We're then
ban.
go with this,
Radiant team's turn to ban.
take the ban as well, but focusing on this
That was
mid lane.
fast. Yeah. I think they probably saw in the last game that Waishen
Dire team's
was
turn to
having
ban.
initially a bit of a rough time, but you know, was able to recover quite well. But over the course of the last several games we've seen from Neptune Gaming, they do seem to do a lot better when Waishen has a good start, and they have a very difficult time when he's the one that's playing on recovery. So I think it is important for them to try and ensure that they get him a decent matchup.
10
In the
seconds
last game, of
remaining.
course, it wasn't easy
team's
at
turn
first,
to
you know,
pick.
against Echo, but he was able to eventually get there. And wow, all of these bans in the second phase practically focusing on this mid lane. We could even argue that Razor, although it was played in the safe lane by MKS, we've seen that hero mid as well. So Neptune Gaming, they better, I mean, they have lost picks, so they might hold off on
10
picking their
seconds
mid laner
remaining.
for the Waishen until then. An explosive pick that has the potential to just
5
out and
seconds
out.
remaining.
I imagine right now they at least want to try and see what they can do about this IO Ursa, figure out ways to be able to kite the bear around. Other supports they maybe
Radiant
want.
team's
Shadow
turn to
Demon are the
pick.
better heroes here. I don't think they go for it. Oh, wow, okay. It is Shadow Demon, straight up. Sweet, awesome.
Yeah. Very nice call. Moments before they actually. Well, yeah, you're absolutely right though.
10 seconds remaining.
You definitely need something like that if you want.
5 seconds left. Don't freeze up.
Gotta watch out a little
It's
bit.
also quite
for
nice
that.
against IO. So what do you think here, Dragon Drop? What do they? I'm wondering. You know what I've always wondered to myself, right? And I always
Radiant
ask
team's
myself
turn to pick.
about this
Disruptor.
matchup with like Shadow Demon into the Ursa. Does Ursa in this situation, because of the fact that you don't get off the enrage easily, do you just go ahead and build SNY and say, you know what? Tank the L of not having to get BKB or having to get BKB plus
10
SNY
seconds
just to make
remaining.
sure you have some status resistance to spend some time away from being uber kited
5
by the
seconds
SD.
remaining.
Kind of depends on what else.
Dire team's turn
I
to
would
pick.
not
Void
sacrifice the
incarnate.
S and Y into Scepter just to have the image of Ravage or something. Right now, there's not a whole lot else that you have. If you get Shadow Demon ulted, if you get purged, then yeah, you know,
Radiant team ban.
Admiral Konka.
make a lot of sense.
Kunka.
I don't know too much about this in the Shadow Demon on the Eye Hunter. It's all
10
very
seconds left.
utility for
Decided?
some damage potential, but it's
5
kind of
seconds
slow,
remaining.
you know, Shadow Demon stuff. Over time, stealing. Really needed someone that can tie it all together. Put Konka. It's not really that. Not in my book, you know. Yeah, sure, you can
Yeah.
do a lot of tide, but he's mostly about boats, just the plate or the moment that's you go. It's not as consistent as you would. Certainly not.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Kunka, I'm also a bit worried about the fact that whenever we see on the side of Neptune Gaming that they don't have this huge burst, they do seem to struggle with being able to consistently maintain focus and execution in these team fights. Let's see where this
Radiant
goes
team's
for
turn to
now.
ban.
CDEC will then go in for the Void Spirit pickup, you know, just accelerate a little bit of the tempo from their end.
Dire
One of the
team's
things you
turn to
love
ban.
about having Void Spirit in the same team as whenever there's an IO draft as well is that anywhere on the map that a fight starts, Void Spirit, either you start the fight with Void Spirit, get followed up with the IO, or you can get there fairly quickly to be able to assist the team in plopping down the necessary damage. So
10
this
seconds
can work
remaining.
out. This will be nice, pretty decent here from the side of CDEC.
5 seconds
One
remaining.
thing I'm also thinking for themselves is that the
Radiant team's
matchup
turn
into
to pick.
Kunka, you know, it can be definitely a Kunka favor because he has a lot of physical damage, but Resonant Pulse Absorb is also quite nice in that lane. Sure, you end up losing out on the CS, but you don't get outpaced by the Kunka. And I think Kunka always likes to be able to play lanes where he can outpace the opponent. And of course, there's such good ways to dodge the
10
spells of the
seconds
Kunka
remaining.
with Io and Ursa. Provided that the Io isn't
5
caught out by the
seconds
spells
remaining.
as well, then you always have the option to reload the Ursa out back into a safe position. I don't know, it feels like Neptune Gaming don't have the full scope of catch that they'd fully want just yet. And now there's a lot of pressure on the safe laner, right? What hero do you pick that rounds out this entire draft? Void would have been great, so I feel like that's a lovely band here from CDEC.
Come up with one. You need someone that can do some good output. I don't even know if Void would have done. It might have worked because he should have had enough time to do damage, but he has enough time.
Dire team's turn to pick.
Wouldn't have minded Bloodseed areas.
Oof. What can you
I don't know
pick
if
here?
there's a hero here that can fix Neptune's issue.
10 seconds remaining.
What carries are still in the
They-
draft?
They also need push, right? I mean, if you
5
go for this
seconds
early
remaining.
game strat, which is like, oh yeah, we're gonna dominate team fights with Ravage, with Boat, with Tombstone, and what have you.
Maybe Medusa?
Medusa.
Choose your hero.
This is actually pretty good.
Again, Medusa would not have really fit. It would have given you that late game, sure.
Yeah,
Wraith
but
King's probably the best one. Push with the Skelly, corral them properly. Ton of anti.
this is actually quite nice. One of the best heroes in the game, I think, versus Doom, like is a carry pick. That you never worried about the Doom, so Doom obviously now has to pick different targets. Tidehunter is not attractive because you, generally speaking, will not arrive before he gets off the Ravage. So now it's Wai Shen, but they're still safe from Hui Hui. And of course, Wraith King can fight against the Ursa through the double life.
10
You know,
seconds
Ursa
remaining.
can kill you if you get strong enough, especially with the backup of the IO twice quite easily. But
5 seconds
you also
remaining.
have at least some time, right, for your team to be able to set up. It's another tanky hero who can receive the buffer from Coco Rum, heals from Soul Rip, time being bought by Shadow Demon, Disruption. Like, I also suppose this fits better into the philosophy of their draft up until this point, right? Long, consistent damage over a period of time in the fight with one hero who can maybe just burst you down. So I'm expecting that he might go like the Deso build this game. That way they have Tidebringer Cleave from Kunkka, Deso coming in from him, so that they do have some sources of like quick damage, but it's still feels like very much a response pick, right? Like, I'm not sure that they still pick this hero if Doom isn't picked up on the other side, and it definitely feels like they were sort of scrambling, like, well, what hero brings this all back together for us? What hero, like, you filled out a lot of boxes there. Like, it doesn't fill all of them, but it probably is the best that was left, right? Given how many bans we also saw into the safe lane that came out in this game too.
Yeah, this is probably the hero that solves that equation, gets closest to solving the equation. The math problem that they've had in front of themselves, but still concerned if something goes wrong with the they'll
Yeah.
paper, yeah, if you get both of them lanes, you got fight in mid, Wraith King even play around him and powers one by one.
Prepare
If
for
that
battle.
happens, yeah, sure, go ahead. You can probably win a game like that, but what happens if Seed French or two? They very much have the ability to do so as well. It's not like they don't have the fight, and especially if she really should. He's linked up with the IO.
Yep.
I mean, his lane really.
It's impossible to lose this lane, dude. It's any lane with this IO is just so scary to deal with, and it's one of these weird situations where if you're playing in this game, you actually come across Hui Hui. He goes level 1 Earthshock, so I'm not sure they'll have enough to kill him here. And I mean, you're sort of okay with this, you know. The enemy safe laner went level 1 Earthshock, doesn't have swipes or overpower.
30
It's not so
seconds to
bad,
battle.
but the really scary thing about this is, like you're mentioning, not only do they have the ability to run them over, but that's the game plan, right? You don't pick IO, Disruptor, Doombringer, Void Spirit to let the enemy be able to sit back and farm. You're going to be trying to chase these heroes down as early and as quickly as possible. So Neptune Gaming, I do hope for their sake that they do have some kind of backup plan, or at the very least they spend some significant degree of time stacking these Ancients with Hui Hui to allow for this Wraith King to farm them up later, because they're going to need Unknown to get pretty massive in this game in order to win it.
Change on punished for got a bunch of trees up here already. It is
No. Just ring around the rosies a little bit. You know what I feel really bad for
Kinda
in this series?
kill up the trees, stay away from each other, and still
Yep.
double the gates off. Like I actually only got the ones. So nice sidestep there from Jeff.
Especially since you have this Doom, right? Super strengthy hero out in this lane, so decay will affect and impact you more so than most other heroes. But I do like that they have sustained in this lane for themselves yet again for Neptune. That unknown won't get bullied out of it. I will say that I was reasonably impressed with how he refused to let himself get bullied out of that lane in the previous game. And, you know, we've seen Fonte, who normally is handling carry position roles, sometimes die frivolously in the early portion of the game. And they're going to run at Shafu now. They feel like they've gotten enough decays out, doing a lot of damage here. Gogo will have another one in a couple seconds. Can solo zone this Doom. Actually might be able to kill him. He's got the first blood. Yeah, that's a huge decay. Alrighty, that's a good start to the game here for Neptune Gaming.
Nice the stick charges. I mean, the boots on a dying just make sure they can keep following DK. Yeah, of course, DK would just blow the hell off of the enemies. It also buffs you up a little bit. You know, if 12 stacks of that right now, 12 extra death for you. It's all making.
Things are still going well for Neptune right now as they're doing a good lane for Waishen in this mid. You know, did anticipate that Kunka would do quite well here, and indeed he's doing more so than just quite well. He's doing really well. Putting a lot of pressure onto Echo, forcing him to have to always stay back with regen, taking up all these water runes, having just a fantastic time and threatening often with these torrents. He's gonna let Echo go and get that bottom water rune, but definitely won't be interrupting his own farm in the process. And this is nice from Waishen because they will need a tanky Kunka. Another frontliner that's outside of the Tidehunter, because we've already seen the core Tidehunter into supports disruptor matchup. It's not always fun, especially when he's not going to have the easiest start to the game once we have more points in Fury Swipes. But now we are starting to see the impact of going level 1 Earthshock on this Ursa. He wasn't able to threaten the Tidehunter at all for the initial first part of the wave, so AAE was able to get quite a lot of CS. Now he's going to hit level 3 before the Ursa does. You have 2 points Anchor Smash. Suddenly the lane is very, very different, all because they try to go for that early kill down bottom. And now you're taking advantage. Quite nicely done here by Neptune Gaming.
This one was always mine.
If had any business to. Do this with this guy. Can get a little bit awkward here, but they don't really have the lane control right now. So I want to chase him on the tower, obviously. You really want to have the lane in front of your own tower, and then if they.
Oh, top lane?
My coil
Tower, but okay. Ends up going down. Bottom also fighting each other quite a bit. NKS 4 stacks of poison on him. That's the 5th one, and
Dire's no fortified
level 2.
structures.
Barely not enough damage.
That was so close. It could have been a disaster in that situation. He ends up surviving on the very skin of his teeth. Yeah, without the IO, 100% dead. Not just from the heal, but that movement speed given by the tether allows him to flee away. But things are starting to look quite good for Neptune Gaming. And top lane, Gogo is doing a magnificent job on this Undying, putting in a lot of pressure out on top. Not just in being able to secure the lane for Unknown, but the pressure he's putting out is diminishing the farm that we normally see being freely attained by these Doombringers. And Gogo, just by himself, is making that impact. Although they will end up losing quickly here around the mid lane. You know, supports playing in this very awkward area, but they catch each other out. That's pretty funny.
Stop to just chase them. At least 2 sets
But I think you're fine with this if you're playing Hui Hui, because if Disruptor's doing that to you, that means he's not top helping Shafu. And Shafu cannot approach this lane anymore. We've already seen what happens if he's in front of the Raid King and Undying just by his lonesome. So he's now has to play a lot more conservatively, doing these long pulls by himself, but that gives full freedom towards Unknown to get free farm on this Raid King. Off to a much better start for himself than he was in the Juggernaut, although they might go with Gogo for this.
out of control here. They will at least get this tombstone, so...
Wait, what? Just walked away from them, that's hilarious.
I mean, it's a way to slow him down, right? Slow him down. I haven't talked so much about it just yet in this game, but I don't know about you, but I'm not really a Void Spirit believer anymore. Zero can't do anything. Too many games in a row.
Yeah, ironically enough, I think it was that series we did against where it was SAG playing Neptune Gaming, where we saw Void Spirit really crumble there as well. Didn't look very strong at all. And I'm with you that I've really shifted towards believing if you don't get Void Spirit in a perfect game, then you should almost always just pick Ember. Like if you want to get like the same kind of tempo control from this hero. It peaks too early, and there's just so many peculiarities about how you progress on this hero. And I don't know, I'm also not really a believer anymore unless you're super confident. Speaking of confidence, looks like we might have a play down bottom. I think we will die here.
This destruction, he gets it off in the nick of time.
And sweet.
Fights the rune on the way out. It's missing, like there's an accident available if you can get in range. Number one.
Oh god.
Radiant fortified destruction.
Oh, it does not have no fortified. That's a backup coming in. Don't fight Tidehunter.
You cannot
safe sound by the IO.
Oh, that was so ridiculous.
Weird, seriously though.
Yeah, that didn't need to happen from any side, really. Should just be like, well, MKS is out, let him run. It is what it is, we're not gonna catch him. You know, we saw level 1X not really come into effect. He tried his best, Raishin, but after missing that initial torrent. And that kind of sucks that the first rotation for both mid laners, right? That's not how you really want to spend that first movement on the map. Sure, for Echo, you get yourself involved in a kill, but it's like, whatever, you know, things are just strange and bizarre. We're just going to get back to farming. Nothing really changes on the map. The status quo remains relatively the same. A lot of the supports get dragged over. Unknown kept farming out on this top lane. And I must say, like, of all these heroes in this early portion of the game, like this, Tidehunter has been playing really well with this positioning, but I think with the help of Hui, making sure that he's never eating too many Fury Swipe stacks, Tidehunter's gotten a lot better than what you might think he would get in the lane against Ursa on paper. And he has 6 now. If they can actually get a good movement on the map, oh, nice bottling just before the deny attempt from the Disruptor. Very, very close. That might actually set up into a kill happening, because now the problem that YGen has had about getting in range for the X marks the spot won't really be a problem the next time he does decide to pop this rune.
Bill says on the sideline that Ace almost died, but it's in the bottle. Well, thanks, Dota. Yeah.
It's in beta, you know, small indie company in Seattle.
Can't possibly be expected to be too much. Oh well. It is what it is. I don't know down bottom this year.
This is ours.
Doom up top though. At least it's a Doom, right? It's near the top of the network.
Yep.
Eventually, he's going for the Doom now, so it should
Okay.
shadow.
Yeah.
He'll be fine.
Yep, it's Doom. The magnificent job done by Gogo will delay the inevitability of his net worth rising, but it is nonetheless an inevitability. He'll get all the money that he needs. Life will become a lot easier as time goes on. And you know, sometimes you see Doom players hold on, not just offlane players in general, hold off on using their big ultimate. And unless they want to get it on a mid hero or a safe lane hero. But if you just have an opportunity to get a kill and you know that the next few minutes are going to be relatively quiet anyway, just go for it. Nobody on the map really wants to fight right now. Ursa wants to finish Diffusal first. This Void Spirit still wants to get an item. We don't know. It looks like it's going to be a Kaya to begin things off, but still quite a bit of time before you really want to get involved on the map. Raid King wants to finish Omelette, get closer towards Deso, Blink Dagger, all these things. I mean, CDEC do smoke right now into the Roshan pit, but it's still not really finding fighting action on the map. So you know that there's not going to be any hero-on-hero action. Always use your spells, make use of them in whatever capacity you can. And I love that CDC are making this move whilst they know for a fact where the Raid King is, as they see him down bottom taking the tower. So at least know that you buy some time, and because Ignis has level 6, you might still be able to show up for a fight if in the case that Neptune Gaming decides to go for an engagement somewhere.
Done indeed. Probably not that. 20 minutes. Agony shot.
gosh.
They're beating on Dire's top tower.
We might. Roshan.
Where
Dude,
those
look at this.
cracks
Look at
in
Kunkka.
Dire's top
Wyshan's
tower?
gold for the game.
Radiant's bottom tower's got problems.
Gotta love it. Orchid Malevolence, baby. So we've seen how impactful this item is against Void Spirit before. Of course, doesn't seem like this Void Spirit is going for a Yule Scepter here. It looks like Kaya. Let's see, where's his courier at so we can see if anything has been put on there. Okay, here's, yeah, it's Kaya first. So no Yules for the Dispel, no BKB initially for the Dispel. Ursa in this game is going to get the early Diffusal Blade, so it could also be kited a little bit by the Orchid. But really, the hero that this will be super useful on is Doom. You know, very long cost points on the spell, and them not having Doom in one of these team fights can really put a huge dent in CDEC's ability to take any team fights. So he's going to need Blink Dagger at some point to get closer, but he's going for BKB first, which makes it a little bit easier to get off the Orchid as well. This could work. This could work. If he goes from this Orchid straight into BKB, which he's decided to queue up just now, that way you just sort of run into the fight, and they have two counterplays, right, from CDEC. They either decide to Doom you, which, you know, that means that they're winning on the side of Neptune, because then there's no Doom for Tidehunter, no Doom. Well, Wraith King doesn't want to get doomed won't get doomed anyway, but then suddenly it's removed. Kunkka is tanky enough to survive through it. And or they just ignore the Kunkka, try to wait for the Tidehunter or the Shadow Demon to get closer, but then that just gives you time to get the Orchid out onto the Void Spirit, onto the Disruptor. This can really be working out for them. They just need to make sure that he doesn't die before he gets there, and it's looking good for him so far. Wyshan is top of the net worth, farming really, really well. His team has made sure to protect the tier 1 tower. We don't have any stacks in the jungle just yet, but I think if they intelligently use these TPs, they should be able to protect all their towers and still get the farm that they need. Or protect the relevant towers. Its top one is just going to die no matter what.
Dire Snow fortified their structures.
Not exactly all that valuable for, at least from the Dire side.
They're beating on Dire's top tower. Not much good's happening to Radiant's bottom
A
tower.
little bit more important than that. No point overcommitting here.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant structures have been snow fortified. Dire's top tower is under attack.
That was kind of funny. And so frustrating when that happens, you know. You must be a little bit lucky that Disruptor wasn't in a perfect position with the perfect timing to try and counterplay that, but the interplay between these two spots is going to be interesting to see as this game goes on. It's all often kind of one of these like cold wars. Whoever strikes first is the one that gets punished afterwards. So it really does depend on who has the adequate vision over the other when the spell is cast. Right now, though, I think Neptune Gaming are still okay with how this map is looking. They just got the Blink Dagger out on the Tidehunter, going into the Yule Scepter immediately thereafter. And yeah, sure, there's an Aegis on the side of CDEC, but I don't think CDEC really want to fight them either just yet. Echo wants to wait until he has Sanj and Kaya. A little bit more protection for himself on this Void Spirit is definitely going to be feeling a little bit squishy, but also maybe gathering up for a smoke here, Dragon Drop, to try and force a play on the map. I'm not too sure about this just yet. Prefer to finish the SMK, but here they go. Let's see what they can get. If nothing else, this might be a warding expedition for them.
Playing very defensive. They at least need to secure their own jungle. That themselves, though.
Radiant's middle tower.
Xiaofu.
You figure out what's going on behind.
I found him, boys. I found him.
Exactly. He's created. The fight commit though, this replay. Alright. Comes one around, this one around. That's going to be open at the end. Yes, he deals with the Tombstone as well. Io's just dead. NTS will lose the Aegis. Tombstone still very much healthy, and crucial if he gets the second time.
Double kill. Radiant's middle tower shouldn't have to. Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
CDEC, why on earth would they go in for their tier 1 defense? They had to know that it was going to die for sure. No Doom being available. Yeah, sure, Ravage was popped, but they definitely had to know that both was online, Torrent was online, the second line for Wraith King was online, Tombstone was online. Demonic Purge was online, every other spell except Ravage. So going in there, with the heroes that you have at your disposal, you know that Ursa is susceptible to 2 of those spells, IO to all of them, and without the Doom being online, you can't stop any of those spells from coming out. And even if Doom was up, he doesn't have an easy way to get into the fight. So they had to reload this Ursa forward, jump in with Echo, but that just allows Neptune Gaming to easily set up because there's no way Disruptor at this stage of the game will find a 5-hero Static Storm, which is what you'd need to win that fight. CDEC get really overpunished, and I'm actually honestly quite surprised that they decided to take that fight. They still don't have the Diffusal on MKS either. Like, so there's no damage from the Ursa. There's no full survivability on Echo. It doesn't have Sanj and Kaya. The Disruptor and IO are still food for these heroes. That was very bizarre, but you know sometimes on Dota, you get stuck into like very particular patterns. One of the patterns is try to protect the tier 1 tower middle at all costs, and you overcommit to that idea, you end up getting super hard punished at the end there by Neptune Gaming.
Yeah, maybe also part of that is... Oh yeah, Ravage is on guys who can fight. Considering all these other factors. Gold's still being allowed to Tombstone. All of these factors back to the norm.
Speaking of Tombstone, Guogo just debated 3 heroes around him. He dropped Tombstone on the high ground and TP'd out in front of like 3 heroes, so it's hilarious.
Not a good capture there.
You know, right then and there, as he sees that where Kunko was TPing out from in front of him, right? He 100% was like, man, I wish I got Blink Driver first. Like, this BKB build-up hasn't really helped us out, and the Blink definitely would have been more beneficial for them at this stage of the game, because now Neptune Gaming still realized that they have the mobility and jump advantage, and they're gonna use it again here, drag and drop. Tidehunter's got Ravage again. Oh god, no, this is the perfect time to go. They get the 2-hero Ravage onto the Ursa IO combo. No possibility of a reload out on this one. They've already killed the Ursa. Ignis will reload out, but all he's doing is setting up for being food on the comeback. Is he gonna bring back anybody? Nope, nope, nope. They're like, you're on your own, buddy. We'll see you on the other side, my friend. And at the same time, look at this Raid King Unknown bringing in the creep wave so that they can push on the tier 1 tower at the same time as this move is happening. Shen has Orchid, double kill off of that, so now already has enough gold for the first components of the BKB. And the only hero that's sitting pretty in the net worth is the Xiaofu Doombringer. This was inevitable, but it has come at a cost. The rest of his team hasn't really been able to see the fruits of the last 15 minutes of farming, because they really want to be fighting more so than farming, but they don't have the tools to do so just yet.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Nice catch on the courier though, I believe that was 500.
Radiant's top tower has looked better.
Void Stone for you.
Nice.
Yeah, so far Neptune Gaming's is working out. This strong mid-game timing.
Dire's bottom tower needs some help.
To leverage that. Just how long can they blink being very much ready to fight you whenever you have that ult. Worry about using it again. Move up around him. And X is not too far away, they see him. Static Storm comes through, protect him, and joining in the fight. Okay, he's still dropped lower and lower. Despite the drum buff, defensive disruption coming through, they have to get rid of the Tombstone. Oh my god. Well, the stun's over on MKS. First heal. Turns one around, the group's back on Unknown, but he's gonna be right back in the fight. No death jump yet, but that'll change. Jump through. Will be caught out, everyone else.
My delight.
Step lively now. Your admiral is on board.
Between the boat buff and the disruption, the distraction of the Tombstone, he actually gets away from that. What a guy.
Alright, Shen and AAE have been escape artists in this series right here. Yet again, we see Waishen getting away with the skin of his teeth. I really thought he was dead for sure. 100% dead to rights. Very short X, like you mentioned. And it's not like it was for a lack of spells being committed. Doom even considered dropping the ultimate, but the only reason he doesn't, he's like, why would I do that? This guy is dead. There's no way that this Kunkka survives this engagement. So let me save the Doom for somebody else. But little did he know, so much tank. Soul Rip, Disruption, Coco Rum, and you know, had he been able to turn around randomly in the middle of the fight, would have also gotten a smidge of the bonus of the Tidebringer cleave damage in the opposite direction, but they didn't need it at the end. They still kill Xiaofu. The rest of the team now shows up to this side of the map. Waishen goes home. X is back into this side of the map on the lane, so it's almost like nothing happened. Perfectly fine. Yeah. And still gets to progress towards getting BKB. That was without BKB. Imagine if he does have it, how difficult it's going to be for them to bring down.
Under attack.
Oh man. I don't know if there was a way to make sure.
Radiant's bottom tower's got problems.
The way it was.
Not much good's happening to Radiant's
Bottom damage, Ravish to follow.
Element.
So just randomly falls.
Undertow.
A lot committed here, but hero's a dead hero just around the Roshampen.
No, absolutely not. Echo is essential for them being able to jump in. Oh, but they're gonna try and take the fight anyway.
Can't even move. He's dead, even open. Woko dodges the static storm. I don't know what's going on. Either way, he's out for the count. Woko finally falls.
Double kill.
Server lack at the moment. He's dead. Cannot get out.
Killing spree. Triple kill.
Oh gosh, okay. And that was... what was terrifying about that fight is that happened before the Desolator arrived for Unknown. And now it's online, coming in right now with the courier just as they go into the Roshan pit. And you know, well, that answers the question of can they fight without Echo? They absolutely cannot. They fight without him anyway, and they lose the fight, and now they're going to end up losing this Roshan. And Neptune Gaming didn't have to pay anything for this. Like, they didn't use anything that they can't replace. They still have boats online. We still have access to this tombstone that they drop down to protect this jump. Xiaofu's gonna jump in though. BKB active. He's running at them with the Doom out onto this Kunkka. Okay, Echo gonna try and help out. Do they have the damage this time? Disruption is gonna be there. They're just buying and baiting the time around. Unknown jumps onto the Io. Io's gonna die, but they will end up stealing away the Aegis. MKS takes it on this Ursa Bear. They do manage to get the kill outside of him, taking away this first life. So you've taken the Aegis, but at what cost? Hey, nice blink away there from this Ursa. Not good enough though. They have more than enough catch. The mobility advantage of Neptune Gaming is too extreme at this point. And now they've gotten to, they want the Disruptor as well. The Tidehunter gush up in 3 seconds as Yules now though will activate it, toss him up into the air. There's gonna be the gush, blink forward to slow him down, and there's no way out here for the Disruptor. Double kill for the Tide, another team fight win for Neptune Gaming. They got the Aegis on the Ursa, but it ends up being salt in their mouths at the end of the day. And Neptune Gaming, a 5k up Dragon Drop. Is this actually happening? Is this actually happening? Are we witnessing it? Is this them on the way to give a game at long last?
It very well might be.
Not much good's happening to Radiant's bottom tower. Radiant have fortified their structures. It looks like Dire fortified their structures. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Either way, it's not really going too well for
Radiant's
CDEC.
bottom tower has
Struggling to
fallen.
come up with ways to go engage into these 5-man fights, and the lineup makes sense. Really good static roll up, jump, stop it.
Radiant's bottom tower's got problems.
Gonna have a hard time, but it's always a boat. There's always that rum buff helping out, throwing them up, kiting the Ursa around very well. Shadow Demon just
Are those cracks
Make
in
a
Dire's
big
top
place
tower?
at regard, not just with Wolfman, but with defensive structures. Look at CDEC right now. None of the other
Radiant's
heroes are
middle
really
tower
having
is under
also
attack.
pick up the slack first.
Ursa might get right-clicked down now though. They're jumping onto them. They find this IO. Moves up onto Ursa. There's static storm down to try and prevent Ravage, but it won't really matter. There's going to be disruption to cancel out the TP. Bye-bye.
Double kill.
That hurt from this Wraith King. How much damage did he do with that crit? Hold on. Dude, look at the 3,500 damage just from the right clicks of this Wraith King. Okay.
Not great.
So now we start thinking about ways that CDEC can come back, right? We do not have access to double doom. Xiaofu is going for the Shiva's Guard just to try and survive some of this damage that's coming in from unknown. Starting to fear for his own life. And are they jumping in for this fight here, Dragon Drop? Okay. Rabbit on the 2.
BKB.
Okay, that happened.
I mean,
Radiant's middle
I would
tower
not
shouldn't
have
have to
blinked
take
in
this
there in the first
abuse.
place.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have, but
Where did
He
Radiant's
doesn't have
middle
buyback
tower go?
either. Oh god. No buyback. They still have there's so much damage that they can put onto a bull. The one saving grace is that they're not doing this with an Aegis, but with double life on Wraith King, it doesn't really matter, does it? They're gonna get the lane of Rex and there's nothing that CDC can do about this.
Radiant's middle barracks have fallen.
big timing for energy. Okay, working on the dagger, couple of minutes. Link, Lotus, Heals, and High Hunters, all utility.
What?
And now a BKB on Wraith King, they've pretty much everything that they could ever need. I don't think they can 5-on-5.
Nope.
Get the initiative.
Bounty!
I'm gonna try though.
Over here, who's kind of isolated, but
I mean, 1600 HP with the max 7 charges on the Holy Locket. Still a pretty beefy customer.
oh god.
What I also just realized here, Dragon Drop, is that they still, 25 minutes into this game, you still don't have the BKB on Ursa. Which means that this hero, normally I'm used to like, at this stage of the game, you just consider that Ursa, the only thing that can kite him anymore is Demonic Purge, but he's still going to be fully kiteable by all of Kunkka's spells, including Tidal Wave, including the upcoming Torrent Storm, including Disruption, Wraith Fire Blast, all the stuff that he doesn't want to have to deal with. How does he actually hit anybody here in this game? Like with just this Blink Diffusal without having this BKB active as well. Like, they still don't have BKB either on Echo, so it's not like they have this Void Spirit that can tank up and distract the enemy team either, because he has a hard time sticking around in these fights. So it feels sort of like Xiaofu has the world's responsibility on his shoulders. Somehow has to blink to the background of the fight, BKB up, get the Doom out onto a critical target, pop Shiva to slow them all down, to disable the blink of the Tidehunter so that everybody else can jump in with their spells. But I don't know, it's a tall order. Or maybe they just need this full Ags on Disruptor. If he had that, maybe, but it's a long way for Disruptor to climb before he's ready to have an item that can turn around the game in that fashion. So Neptune Gaming just have free reign of the map right now. For the first time, it feels like in the entire lower division of DPC at this point.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
If
attack.
there is a way for
Are
CDC
those
to take a
cracks in
fight, then
Dire's
it's
top
fire.
tower?
Extremely precise. Their car, and probably some misplay, some.
Yep.
Danger. They're having a hard time. Just
Yeah.
now, NG, they're gonna get the advantage of farming up items. Then I can separate lead and
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
all and he could have maybe
Radiant's top tower deserves just as much help as bottom. Radiant structures are
They're coming for
fortified.
this fight though. They really want to look for this counter opportunity. Full 5-man smoke up. Shafu, can he be the hero? Smoke's already been popped. They have clear vision. Unknown, very happy to go forward. And they get it. They got the 2-man on Gonga. Why should? Will they find this kill? Echo jumping in. Aghanim set the silence on the 2, but that damage enough to already kill the Disruptor. And look at MKS. Can't really stand and fight. The Ravage comes out onto 3. And they got Shafu back with Doom. What was that, a Lotus Orb that they used? And now we get the kill immediately onto MKS. Whose Lotus Orb was that? Where did that come from? Where did the Doom bounce back? Oh, it's the Tidehunter. Oh, what a player. Had the Lotus at the ready. So sure, you Doom judge in, but Doom comes back onto you. 4 heroes gone in the blink of an eye. Echo only gets back because of this overwhelming mobility. And that might be it, Dragon Jump. It might be done. Neptune Gaming might have won their first game.
oh man.
Radiant's top barracks is
Oh, but GG is called anyway.
Radiant's top barracks is falling.
Oh my god.
Dire victory!
Oh my gosh. The 42. Oh my goodness. Wow, this actually happened. We did it. We did it, Dragon. It took until their last game. It took until the very end of their series, but they actually did it. They got a game. That you know what? No matter what happens now with the team, it's fine. We got a game. We got a map. We didn't go the whole series getting 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, 2-0. And it wasn't by luck. It wasn't by hook or crook. They beat them clean. They looked disciplined while doing it. They made the right moves on the map. Wow, Neptune game. Where were these guys this entire time, the last couple of weeks? like will be able to move off the mid lane. In game 1, they had no issues. You're playing Lina. If you make a rotation, somebody dies instantly. And in game 2, they had so side of the map. When Echo gets up, goes somewhere, once he has the soldier, that will definitely lead into a kill every single time. So definitely you had the right read. I think that this was the best option for them. I'm glad they took it. They didn't get debated. And I think we're going to have, this is probably one of the more even draws that we've had here in this series. So we're going to have a very fun game here for game number 3. The first win is on the line for both of these squads. That's kind of incredible to think about, honestly.
We have 4 wards.
What?
Over the center of his own and then 2 shared center wards from Ignite.
Oh, wow.
I think he wants to go on a dewarding spree or really wants to ward. But yeah, already got a deward, so there you go.
30 seconds to battle.
Ching ching. Thank you.
Life. Of course, he also uses his own sentry for it. He used one of the other one.
Oh,
That money would have actually gone to.
that would have been so funny. Actually, had it done so, but he makes sure he's like, no. This gold is mine. This gold is mine. I'm here for this money. And this is how it starts, Drag and Drop. This is how the war against this Morphling starts. Morphling now has 6 opponents instead of just 5. He's like, I see how it is.
Snowball fight.
Please stick around for this rune. So able to grab another one and
Okay.
back. So that's 3 for 1 exchange. Down is gonna be Shikuchi. Goes the other way so it doesn't get. Needs to go bottom.
So, I think so. Yeah, he does. Yeah, it's on the way. This is an interesting trade though, because they trade off a level 1 disruption from Hui Hui for being able to get that additional bounty route. And unfortunately, at level 1, yeah, sure, you don't have the Spear of Mars just yet on Mars, so you don't have disruption into Spear. So a little bit of the harass potential in lanes sacrificed, but I suppose you're playing into Ogre Morphling. You're not expecting to get out max harass anyway. You're just gonna do what you can. As we already seen in the top lane, MKS, when possible, they're gonna disrupt him, but they shouldn't really be able to interrupt him getting off the morphs. And what's annoying about this is that until level 2, you can't really fully harass the morph. But at level 2, it does get a little bit scary. He's going to put a lot of pressure onto this morphling in the top lane. He's going to have to watch his stats all the time here to make sure that he doesn't fall prey to just major snaps of damage all of a sudden.
Full 1 Channel Poison. Well, like you don't want to spam all your mana. Yet against some opening. Yeah, seeing how much the Shadow Demon Illusions can do, even with 1 disruption.
Yeah.
This is a more thing that says a lot. They do a lot of damage, man. Oh no, not the courier!
Dire's courier got
Hui
killed.
Hui. Nice.
Those things aren't cheap, you know. Look at that. Radiant's courier
I mean, he
just
pays
got
for his own
killed.
courier. Hashtag word. We traded. It's fine.
Let's...
Nothing we can do about that. And middle, Echo versus Waishen. It is definitely going to be a lane that Waishen gets more CS out of, but you can't really pressure this Invoker as the Ember Spirit. So Echo will definitely have a good time because he just keeps doing this. Flame Guard, sorry, Tornado, on, can't do anything. So this is always the most fun lane to see, like for an Invoker. You know, normally he's feeling under so much pressure sometimes. third point into either Flame Guard or Slide. Ends up shaking out in this mid lane. Bottom, unfortunately for Xiaofu, Guo goes back, baby. Guo goes out here. Like, good for him to have a Helm of Iron Will because you are going to need it. And there's that snake connection you're talking about. Look at how much harass is here. Xiaofu just struggling to move forward in this lane. And his CS is also suffering massively because of this.
Weaver gets the more annoying keep as well. Organized elsewhere. It's sort of the Shadow Demon will finally fall. Tombstone is out, but that might just be more fun. At the same time, Weaver does get the Shikuchi out. Good series of events here for CDEC down bottom. They take a lot of damage, but yeah, they get the kill. Weaver survives and also gets the hold.
Yeah.
Top, yeah. While that was happening,
on the bright side for them, on Neptune Gaming, they got the first kill top onto Ignis, so Hui did not end up losing out on experience. He got some as well from that side of the map. And their harass onto this Morphling is still working out. They might have ended up getting a kill over to the Xiaofu Weaver combo, but at the same time, top lane is going exceptionally well for the Samars. MKS is being put under quite a bit of pressure here, not really able to get the same free farm that he was hoping for. And he will still be able to recover. It's a Morphling. It's very soon time to dip into the jungle. You are level 6. You've got power trades. Not much point in continuing to stay in this lane for too much longer. But for Neptune Gaming, they'll feel quite comforted by the fact that, oh, bottom though, they might not be comforted by this. It's a big gank, but they might survive on Unknown. Does manage to get away after triggering the stone gaze, and it's perfectly fine behind the tower unless they really want to go for this dive. They're looking for it, but here comes help. Wai Shen showing up on the Ember Spirit, steering chains out onto Ignis. This Ogre is going to end up tumbling after they get a Remnant forward here, and without the Ogre being online to tank some additional threat, they don't really want to go for this action anymore, especially now that this Medusa is TP'd out to base. They might go back onto Wai Shen. There's going to be the Urns, Cold Snap going out onto the Ember, but easy Remnants away. Tombstone dropped down by Guogo. They destroy it just before it takes the Weaver's life. Wai Shen looking for an opportunity to get a good slide of fist that also catches the Weaver out. Not going to be able to find that chance. Goes in for the fight instead. Steering chains out, but doesn't leave room for an escape. Finally does get the kill onto the Weaver, but might come at his own life here. Remnants not going to come out in time. Swarmbug does the job with the right click from Echo, and they do get the kill. Echo though is still in the area. I'm not sure if they have enough vision for him. There's no dust on Guogo. Echo might decide to just go for this kill, and indeed he does. Soldier up. Guogo turns around. Decay. Will he be able to keep up? The raindrops doing the job, but not gonna do enough. Eventually, they do get this kill. Echo though, can he get out of here? Mars looking for a chance to throw in the spear. Cold Snap will be on. Spear of Mars not gonna be required, but it will come out for style points. Mars brings down this Invoker. This fight started at the tier 1 tower. It ends at the tier 3s. Long drag back engagement. What the hell just happened here, Dragon Drop?
Well, it started with 4 people rotating try to get Medusa, but she does get the ultimate out.
Radiant's bottom tower's got problems.
Shenanigans ensue as a bunch of people below and then kill. But after all, I don't know.
Not much good happening to Radiant's bottom tower.
Oh, I actually also don't know.
Radiant have fortified their structures.
Spent a lot of time trying to get the
Radiant's
kill.
bottom tower is under
he
attack.
spends even more time. Dies afterwards. Like, could have been much closer to fight, as I'm sure. Yeah, just sneaked out earlier.
Someone better help Dire's middle tower.
Game 3, man.
Fortified their structures.
Game 3.
Sometimes you just gonna have to accept this. Accept that
Radiant's
there's
bottom
no
tower's
analysis
got
that's
problems.
really that. Matter of fact. Yeah,
Radiant's bottom tower is no more.
Yep. Doesn't run at each other. Speaking of running at each other, look at Whiteshin, the fear that he has of being ran down by this Invoker Morphling Night Stalker, especially Night Stalker with Crippling Fear. In the draft, you know, we spoke a little bit about how that spell is amazing against spirits, and he's terrified. Straight BKB. Like, you do not see this on Embers anymore. Like, not even Treads BKB, Falcon Blade BKBs. Like, max stats until I get this protection. I'm not dying. That's it. That's my game plan. I'm not gonna die. Xiaofu, you're gonna have to buy Blink Dagger to catch me and kill me, my friend. Not gonna happen for a while, but he might die here though. He's in a dangerous place. Tornado is gonna be there, and this is exactly what he didn't want. Literally exactly what he didn't want. And CDEC are like, well, don't look a gift Ember in the mouth. They kill him, and now they're gonna look towards the tier 1 tower.
Yeah, it's one of these situations where it's like, all right, let me just farm and then go back to the mid.
Radiant's middle tower could use some help.
5 people here. Why are there 5 people here? Team? 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 Yeah, it is what it is. They're all coming. Again, follow the yeah, nice little dodge of the spear from Morphling. Would have been a good kill if they were able to. Yeah, does catch the Weebo and Tyler is out of it. He's absolutely fine.
Radiant's middle tower shouldn't have to take this abuse.
Over on Night Stalker though. He's got the memo, but this fight's over.
Radiant's courier has been killed.
Trying,
What did that courier ever do to anyone?
damage.
Definitely very, very questionable. It's not great to lose Night Stalker, but it could have been worse. Like this Mars, the Tumblr's toy forward with the arena pop could have caught all 3 of those heroes, but fortunately for them, 2 heroes, the Night Stalker and Invoker, were out of range, and we had a time lapse to get out. But like you say, Xiaofu decided to still stick around, ends up getting punished for this, opening up a bit more damage space onto the tier 1 middle. This is one major weakness of this Neptune gaming draft, that if Medusa is not nearby sieging a building, they have literally no tower threat at all. Like, so it's quite difficult for them to utilize any of these kills that they find on the map to press forward further, which does mean that they're going to be playing with a artificially smaller map than what CDEC has. So this Morphling will have more opportunities to get the farm he needs to close in on the Sea-Blade. But in the grand scheme of things though, Neptune Gaming still are looking fairly strong right now. The gold graph very even. Experience is in their favor. However, CDEC do now have the big item coming now for this Invoker. He's getting Handomitis, so now decisions need to be made. Are we going for BKB? Are we going for Orchid? Are we going for Hex? It's unlikely that we buy Ags this game. There's very little setup for the Cataclysm, but you know, Echo maybe might be harkening back to one of the previous games and being like, man, I also want to get off that massive burst damage. It looked cool.
Double damage.
I want to be part of the club, man.
Well, yeah. I think a Hex wouldn't even be bad, honestly. Want to be able to catch prevent the Medusa from using gaze for some time. Yeah. Well, very reliable to just go that you together, make sure to burst her down before she can get. Would not be opposed to that. High and Sanch before.
Yep. They smoke up now from CDEC. Wanna go do stuff. Don't have Blink Dagger or Omnet yet on this Night Stalker, so I would like to see one of those items first before they make this big embarkment, but let's see who they find, who they come across. Oh, Global! It's fine, mate. It's fine. Just die, bro. It's cool. Found him, gang. It's chilled, broke the smoke. This is why he's in the team, to do stuff like this. So Medusa's like, thanks, buddy. I'm just gonna go dip back into the triangle. I'm gonna farm over here. They can't really reach me. Well, they could reach her, but they undoubtedly will not, because there is an observer. Still tier 1s nearby for additional support. So it kind of feels like that move didn't really accomplish all of that much, because they doubt they want to stick around for a full tower push up on top as well. But we'll see what CDEC decide to do from here. But yeah, they're actually already starting to back off. They know that they can't really take the building. So a move that Gogo was able to forestall. And the longer this keeps happening, the only hero that's farming really well right now from CDEC is the Morphling. You know, even with this hand of Midas, Invoker doesn't want to just be sitting back and farming. Wants to be a bit more active with his team right now, especially considering how much Medusa gets out of having quiet games like this, where she's just slowly but surely getting higher and higher in the net worth.
Necessarily know about this is the only one that this moment
Dire's structures are fortified.
showing up top. Couple of here and see. Try and make some sort of play. It would have been tough anyway. They don't have
Dire's top tower is under attack.
has that DKB queued up for himself. Initiation is not necessarily going to be the strong suit unless it is
Are those cracks in Dire's top tower?
looking to do again. People up
Never
top
refuse
and know about the
gold
suit. There's
given.
a very nice of them.
They're
Dire.
beating on Dire's top tower.
The movement was back towards safety. Just
Yep.
find the fight that they were looking.
He dropped down the vision as well onto this high ground. Guogo yet again positioned to give up his life in service of the cause. And CDEC, I really feel like Xiaofu, this is similar to what happened in the last game, right? Where he had not necessarily the best start, but in the route of catching up, he opted for the BKB, so he had some protection in the fight. But honestly, every time, like he went for this last game, and it felt like the entire team got slowed down because they couldn't really get forward unless they were using relocate plays. And it does feel like that is a similar situation that they're in right now. With him lacking this Blink Dagger, Wai Shen should have died a lot more than 3 times in this game. In fact, he only had 1 death against Night Stalker, which is a little bit of a problem, especially when the only initiation is that tornado. And he's gonna have BKB soon. Suddenly, the initiation potential onto the spirits from the Night Stalker is gonna be gone, but a fight might break out here. They miss with the Spear of Mars onto Ignis. Still pushing back with the God Rebuke. MKS tries to use the E-Blade, but it's not gonna happen with the shotgun. The save with the disruption will enable them to just kill this Ogre. And MKS, he's like, well, I'm out. Peace, y'all. I did my part. My part didn't work out, so I guess I gotta leave.
CDC and Yoga, but overall, objective-wise, this will come away with a pretty decent trade because they give up the tier 1 top, which is valuable tier 1. A bit of pressure to try and match that out, but still, Weaver, he's just playing very aggressively here. Really annoying with the shotgun, just burst him down. It was destruction available, yeah.
That was so
Feels
nice.
that.
Shout out Echo with that Sunstrike to be able to land it properly as he did. Make sure that they had the additional damage onto Hui Hui. And that's a quick kill. There's no objective for them to claim, but there is more map advantage, and they are taking it now inside this Radiant jungle. And this is a key thing. It's kind of interesting how they've been able to find these small little pickoffs despite Xiaofu not really being able to involve himself in the game. So he's still just freely farming towards these next items.
Dire's middle
But
tower
Neptune
is
Gaming
under
very clearly
attack.
are not going to do anything unless Unknown is fully involved or fully online. And they're just happy to sit back. Like they went for the earlier that once kind of smoke play. But since then they've been like, why are we rushing things? Why are we trying to force the situation? Everybody just farm BKBs. You know, Mars is going for one, Ember's just finished one. Now Ember's coming back with this Maelstrom, so a little bit of an inverse order in how we normally see this Ember Spirit build up, but certainly warranted in a game like this where there's such a big concern over getting jumped on by these heroes. But CDEC been finding that jump relatively difficult unless it is on a support.
For the BKB as the first.
Are those cracks in Dire's top tower?
The bug actually connecting over the masses. Talking about vision control and sure,
Dire's top tower is
not a safe area to be. That and even now break in the smoke right here and just time them straight on out of there before they even know what's happening.
Oof, they 5-man smoke
just
underneath this ward, right behind the tier 2 tower. They got scouted immediately, and Weaver runs in to break it so that they have full vision again. That was such a nice play. And because it's a Weaver, you don't necessarily intuit that it must be because of an observer ward, right? You always feel that there should be a Weaver just running around with Sakuchi in this area of the map anyway. So really strong play, and like you're saying, he's really helping them out with this vision control on the map. Things like little movements like that, drawing attention away towards himself, getting these deep wards because he's the one that planted it out in the first place. Really extending this game for them because it might have been terrible if they got smoked into. And well, Wai-Chen fighting MKS, just saying hello to each other.
It's a lovely sports. I want to see more of those. Not only are they unexpected as a stage in the game,
Nice line.
Bill here, Wai-Chen, another jump from lost the BKB though. Oh no! The bucket of lost that long range slide. That's enough damage after all, and now Chains into this time. Forward into the silence, they got some control over the Medusa. Stogie still comes out on top of the arena, though MKS will probably shifting towards strength. No, Neptune comes out and no has to run. The strength shift is enough. Moxie Lori. I still can't. So sorry, but the Weaver is going to get killed. Still busted up. I've already used the something. The kill champion was now.
Honestly, in my opinion, I think that's actually a pretty big win for Neptune Gaming because they took that fight and started rather 4v5. Wai-Chen died very early on, and it was sort of like a dream scenario for how CDEC want to approach a fight, right? They get the crippling fear from Xiaofu. He's finally able, despite, he actually bought the BKB, the Blink Dagger rather, and I'm fully on board with this decision over getting the BKB, and we see the fruits of that there. He's able to get very close into the fight with the crippling fear directly over the TP in Medusa, as we just see Hui. I don't think he dies here. Should be fine. Wai-Chen nearby enough to help out. And yeah, Hui's going to be protected in the situation. But even with all of that advantage for themselves, as they just quickly lose this Weaver, they still couldn't kill the Medusa. She only got off the stone gates at the very last second inside of the arena for protection. But you know, Morphling was there, right-clicking her. Invoker was nearby. They'd already dropped EMP, and even with all of that, Unknown was able to tank through it all. And what a Sunstrike! Echo, what a player! What a player!
Put some sunscreen next time. Just got these defensive disruptions make life a little bit awkward for CDEC time and time again. So getting the Sunstrike to ensure certainly help. Only the support.
Some.
Making Medusa getting that Stone out once again. It's on level 1, but every single time they went on her, she got it out, and that was enough to. Not necessarily enough to turn the team fight around and get 4 kills in a row, but enough to make sure that Medusa is right up there with MKS. You'd like to see if you're not in.
Oof. And she's getting close to having Eye of Skadi now, and she's gonna have hers far before the Morphling has his. And that's going to really change the dynamic of how these fights look. Especially, the one good thing they have is a lot more experience though. And bottom, okay, this will be an easy kill. Or it should be. Okay.
Radiant's bottom tower's got
shut
problems. Dire have fortified their structures. Radiant structures have been snow fortified. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Not much good.
Kind of wild that if you had BKB in that situation, you would have actually lived. Would have been fine.
Top tower is under attack.
Bit of a problem right now, but they still do get the tier 2 tower down. Bottom, we're starting to see the alacrity applied to those Morphling, so his right clicks are really going to hurt. And that's probably also why it doesn't feel too bad about after this Manta going straight Skadi BKBs. Like, I don't have to buy an out-and-out damage item. I'm going to get that damage for free from this Voker. But now we do have the big tank item for this Medusa. She has access to the Skadi. Going to build into Ag so that she gets that Mystic Snake proc. It's getting a bit problematic here, Dragon Drop. Unknown still hasn't died. And if you're playing Medusa with an eye towards the late game, this is the kind of score you want to have. You know, 0-3, 24 minutes into the game. And the team for Neptune Gaming has done a really good job of making sure she's always protected. Wogo has never left her sight. We always have Hui nearby in the offing with Blink Dagger ready to come in with the defensive disruption. And also, Waishin, despite having copped, a couple deaths here and there, hasn't been in necessarily situations where it costs his team too much. It almost did that one fight middle, but Medusa showed her strength. And now that he almost has access to the full BTs as well, then we're going to have these situations where Waishin is just splitting the map away from where the Medusa is, frustrating CDEC, doing a similar thing that we saw him do in Game 2 with his Invoker, where every single time CDEC is trying to do something, he's elsewhere on the map, just extending things out and drawing them away from where they should be fighting.
Sentry there, just running into the wrist of NG to get the control up on the Invoker. Echo pops BKB, disarm into TP out. That'll be just enough. Ooh, get away with murder there. What? Weaver's career almost dies to neutral creeps. Did you see that?
Very close. It got hit, and it was like, oh wait, turn. Yeah.
They hit whatever they could. I've never seen that before.
No, the assassins are like, hey, that's a juicy little bird. Let's try and get something. Looks like meat's back on the menu, boys. That was crazy though, because they get so close to being able to find a kill onto Volker. He gets out, does have to sacrifice the BKB charge, but they're still going right back in. This is hella risky without having the BKB, especially since Mars just picked up his own one. They didn't choose Arena in that fight. Yeah. Very bizarre jump. Disruption to save this Undying. Grogo still kept alive. Tornado only hits Grogo. And they're just fighting this Undying. Tombstone gets dropped. Here comes the Night Stalker. Grogo will eventually die here, but at the same time, Xiaofu in a bit of danger, caught inside several heroes. They even Stone Gaze to ensure that they kill this Night Stalker. And that's going to be a 1-1 trade, but CDEC have lost their offlaner for this. They do steal an Undying Tombstone thanks to MKS, but end of the day, you'll make this trade any day of the week for Neptune, especially when you're the ones playing defensively in this situation. Don't have to. I don't think they popped any BKBs either in that situation, did they? Oh no, they did. They used the Mars BKB, so I suppose that trade is okay. But are they really trying to roll right now, Dragon Trap?
Has looked better.
Yeah, they get the Aegis, Arena can come up, has to fight in a little bit. One chance, a lot of damage, that's a dead. And then Ignis as well, of course. Run away with Murder Roche, and getting loot.
Okay.
I mean, this is far from clean from CDEC with both of these. Just starting the fight without Night Stalker, and then he goes in by himself to try to disrupt the backline. Normally, it's not necessarily a bad idea, you know. Just if you're one hero, you can draw the attention of 4 other heroes. If you give up your life, that's fine. But normally, that's because the rest of your team is playing 4v1 against the core, not against an Undying. Night Stalker went in and died just so they could ensure that Undying kill, and that is. Yeah. Does not compute for me. They were a bit too greedy there, I guess, and we figured, all right, if Undying falls
They're
quickly, we
beating
can
on Dire's
up.
top tower.
Got I've baited out a bunch of smoke. Quite work out that way. And then still going to roll. Very bold,
Dire's
but
top tower is under attack.
That's the one I really can't believe that they actually got that Aegis, because Neptune were 100% aware that it was happening. So should have been able to position to stop it. And you know what I love about, as you're talking about like the Undying and how much attention he drew, he also drew away their Tornado. So whenever that spell is gone, it's like, well, that's our only other initiation. And Xiaofu, I mean, to be fair, you know, he was very upset about the laning phase, so maybe he wanted, he's like, it's fine if I die as long as we kill Gogo. It's okay. Just make sure that he suffers what he did to me earlier. But Night Stalker at this stage, yeah, okay. He is getting access now to his BKB at long lost. So now we have the proper power spike. BKB Omelette with the Blink Dagger in tow, but doesn't feel like it's...
No, so that was the last time you could go YOLO like that without some big repercussions. You can't play like that anymore. You want to hold on to this gem.
I mean, yeah, they have Invoker and Weaver. They really can't afford to lose the gem. Like, not at all. It would be disastrous right now.
Tower, they get him down immediately. Cover him a little bit, but
Radiant structures are fortified.
It's on the arena, he's shifting strength. Nearly enough, he's dead again.
Scotty, baby.
Be ensnared in fire.
Own it.
That discipline right there from Neptune Gaming. They set up with the disruption for the spear back on life 1, knowing full well that Morphling is going to be in a very high IG at that point to try and siege the tower. And then as soon as they kill him, they save the Demonic Purge for the second go around to make sure that no matter how high you're Morphing, through Demonic Purge and the Skadi hits, there's no way you get any of that HP back in time. So he ends up losing his life inside that arena. Fantastic play happening there from Neptune Gaming. Magnificent defense, and now they can just easily push onto the tier 2 tower. And I love that they also kept the arena specifically for the Morphling, because they realized that nobody else is actually a threat to us anymore. This Night Stalker, like, Xiaofu, come on, what are you gonna do? You don't have any damage, really. Like, all you have is the armlet BKB with the blink, but no nullifier, no super high levels either, so we're not really afraid of you jumping in on us. Echo has a limited amount he can do in the fight, but if this Morphling is dead, Echo can't actually do anything by himself. So they end up just getting this kill, unknown, just standing ground, now pushing onto the high ground, or onto the tier 2 tower so they can take this outpost. And now they can start building into this Daedalus, and now we are at the point here, Dragon Drop, where this Medusa is far and away the most dangerous hero on the map. 3k up on the Morphling. They are setting up so that by the next time the Aegis rolls around, they're the ones that grab it instead of CDEC. And that next Roshan is going to come with a whole lot of goodies to make this Medusa even stronger than she is right now. And CDEC are already finding it impossible to deal with her at this point in time.
That's very problematic. Though she did not go for a BKB, did make the argument alright. Poke can still cast her, still silence her up with the crippling fear from Zhao Fu, but it's just so much health you have to choose through that it's gonna take a long time. Like, she can outlast that, especially.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Speaking of defensive disruption, I'm also might be needed as well. Nice pop smoke on the Invoker, but I wanted to ask your opinion on this, right? What do you make of the Weaver not buying Aghanim Scepter this game, just opting to avoid it entirely? I'm very surprised by this, especially considering that they do have that defensive disruption to only save Medusa. You at least want a facsimile of that star, right? So you also have that same potential onto Morphling, but Morph just feels so vulnerable without this Weaver being able to back him up in that way, and I'm quite surprised that he's deciding to keep it this way and still not queuing up the item this deep into the game.
Lotus instead. Lotus give you a lot. Lotus on. I mean, under Shadow Dude still can cast spells. It doesn't care.
Yeah.